What's up, everybody? This is Keith from Indie Comics Relay, and we're here tonight with a special bonus Halloween spectacular, right, Johnny?
It's a Sunday night. What are we doing here? Well,
You know, it's like,
cause we get to do some Halloween-y kind of stuff, so that's kind of fun, right?
yeah, and I mean, this is always, Halloween's usually like my favorite time of the year. I love horror, and I love, the ambiance of October and just, everything except for like pumpkin spice, which you get barraged with,
I don't super mind the pumpkin spice. I just hate the fact that it overshadowed maple for
everything.
The fall.
Yeah.
Because I'm a maple guy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I kind of like doing things like where it's just like group horror things or like group Halloween-y things, because it's like it kind of like forces you to do it. You know what I mean? Like like
definitely.
some years you get so busy, or like like this is a perfect year in some ways because it's like I don't have conventions going on, so it's just like all those horror movies that I love to watch. I can definitely get in.
You can actually watch them.
Yeah, exactly. Like not one year goes by where if I don't watch American Werewolf in London before my birthday, which is November 1st, I don't feel right for the rest of the year.
Love that movie. All right, yeah. So, and the great thing about tonight, we got a lot of great special guests. So, I want to, without further ado, I got my one lovely wife, Amy, joining us tonight. She's a big horror fan. She wanted to get in on the action, and she's an amazing artist herself. So, I thought she fits in with the ambiance,
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Hi, Johnny.
How's it going?
Hey, Amy.
Good.
And then we also got the great Robert Geronimo joining us tonight. Hey, Robert, how's it going?
Hey, great. Happy to be here.
Halloween spectacular.
Yeah, I dig
it.
And
finally, secret guest.
Ow!
Speaking of American Werewolf in London, we got Werewolf. How's it going, Werewolf?
How's everybody doing out there? I'm just packing up boxes and boxes of comics. Nothing weird here.
Now, we know that the full moon is going down shortly, and then you'll be reverting back to your human form. But while we have you here, give us your favorite werewolf movie.
Oh, that'd be an American Werewolf in London. Because God bless America.
Yeah.
Amen.
That was acceptable, and so wasn't Howling One, I think, So,
I like Silver Bullet. Silver Bullet.
I was going to say Silver Bullet.
So we're doing a fun.
Don't say that.
What's that? Don't say that. We're doing like a fun Halloween themed episode. I also threw it out to to like Spencer and Jeff, so they may pop in here at any moment. But so we're doing something that I used to do on my old podcast, where we used to, each guest comes up with like a top 3 list. And we're doing a few different subjects tonight, and the audience that joins us can actually join in on the fun too. So we're gonna do like we're gonna go around the room, and we're gonna do like the top 3 Halloween candy that you loved as a kid, your top 3 Halloween costumes, and then finally we're gonna do top 3 of your favorite slasher movies. So it's going to be a fun, fun little thing. So the way we do this normally is if someone will start, we'll go around the room, and we'll start with the number 3. Where's Samedi's changing back?
The moon is setting.
The moon is setting. So I guess that's good.
Getting really low, big guy.
Yeah. Oh man, this is great. We'll wait till he comes back. But yeah, so Oh, there he is.
Oh my God! It was Ryan the whole time.
Yeah, it was Ryan Finn. What a red herring. We thought it was Peter Cimetti.
Oh, God.
I
Are you
don't
okay?
know what just happened. I was out for a jog last night under the beautiful full moon, and I remember being bit by something.
Oh,
And then I woke up here on the stream.
look at that.
We're glad
What's
to
going on,
have
guys?
you. No,
What's up, man? Yeah, be careful for those roving Semetis with those roving
right.
teeth.
No, I need some of that Semeti spray, that like peppery Semeti spray. You blast on something.
Well, Cimetti kind of rhymes with Yeti, right? So,
Oh, that's true.
all right. So, all right. So we're gonna start with. I figure we'll start with our top 3 Halloween candies. So, this would be like your third favorite. So I'm gonna start with my lovely wife, Amy.
Oh, okay. So
What is your top 3?
my top. Well, you want my number 3 first.
Yes. Yep.
My number 3 would be Nerds.
That's a good one.
I like Nerds because I would never buy them for myself ever. But when you got them, those little mini boxes, they were really good. I like Nerds. So that's my number 3.
That was the perfect size too, and Nerds was like pure sugar.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Like a nice sugar rush, you know.
Nice.
So yeah, that was a
those
good
little boxes, you got more variety because, like, even if you did buy them for yourself, Amy, at the store, you got the big box with just the 2, and it was like $2 or something. But for free on Halloween, you got 6, and like then you had 12 different flavors to.
And if you go to like the old lady's house where she's, here you go, dear, here's your handful. And next thing you know, you got like the 5 or 6 flavors. It's awesome.
That's
How
true.
bad though? Like when you used to go trick or treating, and the people that used to give you pennies. You guys ever get that?
I did get the pennies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the pennies.
Like you just want to throw them at like exits here, you know, horrible. And then let's go, Robert. What's your top 3 candy, Halloween candy?
So top 3. So now we're going with number 3
Or
first.
the number
right?
3, yeah.
Okay.
Not your favorite, not your number 1 best, but your like your third best.
Right. Third best, I'd probably go with Kit Kat.
Kit Kat. That's a good one. That was.
Yeah.
I had that as an honorable mention because I love Kit Kats too, but I didn't make my top 3. So Kit Kat's a solid choice.
If I can give a quick shout out to Kit Kat Witch's Brew, it's a marshmallow flavor Kit Kat.
Ooh,
It's amazing.
really?
Yeah, they come in a green wrapper.
Hold that thought, guys. We just had 2 other guests join
Oh,
us.
wow. Oh,
We
my.
got Jeff Elkins and we got Spencer. Hey guys.
What's
What
up,
up,
guys?
You're
Whoa,
just
we actually
in
got
time.
Good to
Spencer
actually
too.
see you, Spencer. Normally I'm looking at an avatar.
What's up, man?
What's up, man?
So you guys just at the perfect time. We're going through our top 3 Halloween candies of all time. So I'll let you guys think on that for a bit while we go to the next person. Ryan, what's your top 3, or what's your third favorite Halloween candy?
My number 3 is, I'm going back to when I was a kid. I had these phases, and for a couple of years, Dots were my favorite.
Dots is on my list.
And they kind of have that bad good quality too. That, like,
Yeah, I was gonna
when you
say.
start off, like the first couple, there's not much flavor. Like it's almost like a thing you have to like build up. But then once you're halfway through the box and your teeth are all a little loose, you're like, this is so good. Bring it on.
And then the flavor lasts. It lasts and lasts. And you can't get them out of your teeth. So like all night, you're like,
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like those dams that the dentist used to put in your teeth. Like you just feel like all it is dots, like on your teeth. You know?
Yeah. If your teeth couldn't handle jujubes, you went to Dots.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Oh, man.
So Johnny, what is your third favorite candy?
So my third favorite is at first it was going to be a tie, but then I dropped one off the list. So my number 3 is Twix.
Nice.
Twix
This
is on my
so
list.
far was actually in my backpack from C2E2. So it's from
Oh, really?
February. It's the last candy bar from the last convention I've ever been to.
It's nice and fresh.
Exactly.
And my
That's got
third
such an
favorite-
apocalyptic vibe to it.
Yeah, right.
Like we're all sitting around the fire, like, "Hey, remember society? Yeah, this Twix, bro."
This is like
And then we all kill Johnny for his Twix.
And then we eat them.
That's gonna be currency now.
The last Twix on Earth.
That's great. So my third favorite candy was Reese's Pieces.
Ooh,
said-
good one.
You always get the Reese's Cups, but I always like the Pieces better. I don't know why. It's kind of like M&Ms, but not. I don't know.
I didn't like them because I loved M&Ms, and Reese's like fool you because you're like, oh, it's gonna be candy coated chocolate, but it's not. It's peanut butter. So I don't like to be tricked by my candy.
All right, so Jeff, give us your third best Halloween candy.
I mean, it's tough because there's a lot I used to eat, but probably as a kid, Snickers.
Okay.
Okay.
I thought you were gonna come at me with some crazy shit like circus peanuts or something. Like, I never know with you.
What was that candy? Remember there was this like candy that was like these little candy dots that were on like paper?
Yeah.
Oh,
What the-
wow. Yeah.
Buttons,
Yeah, it's
candy
trash.
buttons.
Sugar
Yeah.
buttons. Yeah.
You always get paper in your mouth.
Yeah, sugar
too.
buttons.
Yep. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. Horrible.
You get wrecked. You like throw up colors later on. It's acid for kids.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what it
exactly.
looked like, right?
You ever had Necco wafers?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Necco wafers.
It's like chalk.
That's
Yeah.
what
I
I.
love Necco wafers.
That's what I was waiting for Jeff to come
I
out
do
with.
too. My wife hates me because, like, if she sees me look at Necco wafers, she'll like separate from me at the store. She's like, I'm not
That's
hanging out by you.
Do you like the
It's like
the
Depression
licorice one?
era candy.
Any of them.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah. Oh no, it's even more than it's like she calls it like the 1800s candy. She's like, oh yeah, go back to your Civil War candy or whatever.
Before flavor was invented.
Yeah, before
Yeah.
they found out sugar was like the thing to use in candy. They're like, let's
Oh, my
try
God.
this.
Oh wait, candy should taste good.
It's
Oh,
like kind of
wow.
minty and it burns your tongue. Like it's candy. What's
Hey,
it
candy
called?
should hurt a little. Candy
Yeah,
should hurt a little.
That's fantastic. So Spencer, your third favorite candy.
Are we just talking like candies of all time, man? Like get real specific here.
Yeah.
Like Jim Beam.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I always like the old lady's house who gave us a pint of Jack Daniels. No, I'm weirdly crazy about Butterfingers, but there was a window in time where Butterfinger BBs were a thing, and I thought those were the supreme version of the Butterfinger, and they also came paired with Simpsons promo for the most part. So
That's right. I forgot about that.
it was hard
Butterfingers or
not to
Fifth
love
Avenue
it.
bars? Which one's better?
Oh, Butterfingers, get out of here.
Just asking. Fifth Avenue seems classy. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, right.
And Butterfinger also, like dots, is like notorious for sticking to your teeth.
Yep.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
Great. So yeah, that was good. So we went with Amy. So let's go with your second favorite candy.
So I wrote down an official. My second favorite would be the Hershey's Fun Size. This goes back to not tricking me. Like, it's a chocolate bar. It's just small. And I know what it's going to taste like, and it's very consistent. But the old-timey candy conversation made me think of another favorite, which was the, you know those satellite wafers? It looks like a little spaceship with the little dots inside.
Oh my god.
What is that?
Mm,
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah, so it's like getting like a communion wafer. But
Yeah.
like it's
Yeah. Space
yeah,
cheeses.
never happened. Yeah.
I'm just now realizing all this old Halloween candy is like a gateway drug for just substance abuse in general.
Pixie sticks, you know.
So
Oh,
we
yeah.
just a weird
Candy
wafer that
cigarette.
you just suck on and there's beads inside.
Candy cigarettes.
What were
Remember
those
that?
called?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I love good candy cigarette.
I
I'm
think
a
it was satellite
smoker and I
radio.
loved candy cigarettes, so there might be a
The
little.
ones you could actually
correlation
blow out
there.
a little stuff too were the best.
Oh, we had
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Just show up to recess.
we had an ice cream truck in town that rolled through, and we'd all get a pack of smokes and an ice cream and just fucking rip it. Blow smoke on the block with all your 10-year-old homies. Get a brain freeze.
Great.
Oh man.
And so, Robert, second
Oh, yeah.
favorite candy.
Second favorite, Almond Joy.
I'm enjoying.
Yeah.
Not a fan.
Good one.
I'm not a fan of that
I'm a
one.
coconut guy. I love coconut.
I love.
I'm not a fan of Robert's anymore.
You guys are blowing my mind tonight.
Keith, are you allergic to almonds too?
I am, yeah.
Yeah, so that's
Oh,
why I,
Yeah,
you know.
I understand why you're not a fan.
Yeah, 'cause it kill me.
Guys,
Oh,
this
yeah.
candy bar sucks. I think I'm dying.
That's number one on his candy that's your enemy list. That's
Yeah.
coming up later in the show.
Almond Joy tried to kill me once.
No joy there. So, Ryan, what's your second favorite?
I was gonna say nerds. We already talked about nerds, and so my next favorite as a kid that I kind of got in trouble for was with my actual teeth was Milky Ways.
Oh,
I fell in love with Milky Ways, and then I started hoarding them. And then it was like my 10th or 11th, or when I was 10 or 11, there was a neighbor that was just giving them out. And I just went back and forth. Like every 20 minutes, I would just like go back up to their door. And I don't remember if they noticed, or they probably were just like, idiot kid thinks I don't notice, and just kept giving me them. But man, I would hide them under my pillow and like just eat them at night and stuff. I was like, Milky Way. It's like a drug. So, like you said, Spencer, actually, yeah, it was the total gateway to like,
it's just getting you
this
ready.
is how to do like cocaine later on.
Just do it as
You're
fast and
in
as
a
much as
bathroom
possible.
stall in a nightclub eating Milky Ways.
Yeah, exactly.
What
Yeah,
have I
I'm in
become?
Sunday school. I'm like, I just gotta run to the bathroom really quick, guys.
Freebase and Kit Kat bars.
Cut up some
Milky Way was
caramel.
one that I never liked as a kid, and then later on, I don't know, I kind of got an appreciation for it. I don't know what changed in my tastes, but
Which
It's a
one?
weird kind of bland one
Milky
too, because it's just the
Oh,
like
Milky Way.
the ganache or the nougat or whatever. Like it's just that. It doesn't have any texture or anything. Like
I think that's why I didn't like it. It needed like nuts or something, which would just make it a Snickers if it had nuts,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, that one was always like towards the end, like like when you separated out all your candy. Like that one was
yeah.
almost like the last, like in the last pile, for me.
it was the inferior Snicker. It was missing the nuts.
Yeah.
Neutered Snickers.
It was discount.
It was Snickers for those with nut allergies.
Yeah, right? And so Jeff, what was your second favorite?
Peanut M&Ms.
Peanut M&Ms?
Those are good.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Superior
feel like
M&Ms.
M&Ms are getting way too complicated now. It seems like
Yeah.
they're like putting everything in
nut.
M&Ms now. What's
Yeah.
that?
There's
There's
a
one that's
coffee
called
nut?
coffee nut. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I want
coffee
to.
nut. They just released like a fudge brownie one,
hmm
Oh man.
and it was just like it's too much. And then they had a pretzel one not too long ago.
Yeah.
That's a-
M&Ms and Oreos.
Chocolate and
They're
peanut.
adding all these weird flavors too.
That's
Yeah.
Oreos
Oreo.
are crazy.
Oreo's gone off the deep end.
hmm
No, they have
And
Oh,
Oreos, man.
Oreo,
green. What's that?
So go
They
home
have-
already,
they-
I'm drunk. We don't need like caramel apple flavor.
Yeah, right. Oh, God. Yeah, that's a good choice. I like peanut M&Ms. Spencer, how about you? Second,
I hate all M&Ms.
do you?
Yeah. M&Ms are just like, that's like a cop-out candy when we were kids. I'd be like, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like a hard shell with chocolate in it. I'm like Amy was saying, I'd rather just get like the classic like Hershey's chocolate bar at that point. You know what you're getting into. And you're just like, I used to like a crackhead, just like as a little kid, get those and open them up and just like put it in my mouth and suck on it like it was a lollipop or something, and have like a piece of chocolate last like a half hour. We were real poor.
Somebody clip that audio of Spencer for me, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to just suck on chocolate like a weirdo.
Because he had no teeth.
You
All the
back
cavities
alley
got rid of the
chocolate
teeth. You had to
sucker.
suck on them.
I think my second favorite though, like I'm a nutcase for peanuts and stuff like that. So I was always crazy about like Paydays or Baby Ruths. I think
Paydays. Baby Ruth.
right, Baby Ruth's the chocolate covered one. I fuck with both of them, but I think
Baby Ruth chocolate, Payday.
Yeah, Baby
no
Ruth's
chocolate.
probably better just because it's got the chocolate on it, but they're pretty much the same damn thing. Paydays are probably saltier.
Right.
But if it's got like peanuts on it, you could probably just cover a dead guy in peanuts and sugar. I'd probably take a bite.
Nice. How about you, Johnny? Second favorite?
My second favorite is actually a tie. I really couldn't decide. It's a cross between the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup or the Starburst. So Starburst, if you ever got Starburst back in the day when I was, like in the 80s when I was a kid trick-or-treating, it would usually be like the long pack. So you really scored,
like two in there, right?
No. I'm talking about like the long pack. The old long pack.
Yeah.
It wasn't until later on that they started packaging them small for trick or treat. So, like, if you were a kid and you got a Starburst, you were getting like the nice long pack. Somebody's really treating you. It's like giving out the king size candy bars. I mean, I'm a big fan of Reese's. It's probably my favorite, except for the number one. So that's why it's kind of like the number two spot. But also, like, I want to give a shout out to Starburst because I remember getting big packs of Starburst when I was younger. But also, it was something you didn't really see until later on, with like the trick or treat size.
Yep, that's awesome. My second one was already mentioned, which was dots, and we've already talked about that. You get the small boxes, and there was like 4 dots in there. If you're lucky, you got a couple of those on Halloween. Great,
or they were all in one wad.
Yeah, yeah, those are great. They don't. I don't know why they call them dots. They don't even look. I mean, they're not even dot shaped. They're like even like bullet shaped.
They're the body of Grimace.
It's really
they are like Grimace.
Yeah, they're the body of Grimace. That's all I ever thought of was it's
the body of Grimace.
Yeah, the Church of Candy.
They're just jelly beans with chromosomes. That's all.
That's the last part of the communion. You take one of them UFO wafers and you chase it with some Grimace body, and then you one of them wax bottle drinks. You just bite off the top and
nickel nips.
Yeah, exactly.
I never understood those. I never understood why those were a thing.
Because you get a beverage and then you get like knockoff gum.
Yeah,
I was also poor, so that's like, get a little drink and then some gum. It's a twofer.
Yeah, but wasn't it like wax?
Gum.
Yeah, it was just like minted wax.
Yeah, but it has a gummish kind of.
Yeah,
let her call it knockoff gum. You didn't want to call it wax.
Yeah.
Damn it, it's gum.
It was also like a half a sip of a beverage. Like
yeah, you couldn't share it.
You got like 3 drops, and you were like, "Damn, that was delicious." Lick a nip, great.
All right, so like now we're on to number 1. Amy, number 1.
My number 1, Johnny actually just mentioned it. It's at Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. But when you get like the full size Reese's, not the minis, the full size Reese's, and like fold it over. But then when you had to check your candy to make sure it wasn't poisoned or whatever, the little flaps, I'd always like double check them.
Never did that.
Never did that. That's dangerous.
Roll the dice.
Yeah. But then, so one other thing that I thought of as we were talking about the candy is so that's what I always wanted. What I tended to get a lot of was bit of honey. And I don't know why. It was a thing in like the 70s, bit of honey. Which is like,
that's like getting the Tootsie Roll and you're like, and you either got the small Tootsie Roll or the long one, and it was like they both sucked.
Or you weird obscure fruit ones, like get out of here, Tootsie Roll. It's chocolate only. Don't mess around with that nonsense.
What are the ones that are just like the inside of a Butterfinger in a log?
Oh yeah.
I just got some of those in the dollar store not too long ago.
Because that's like what Amy's talking about. They used to have those, and like it was like a 2-inch nubbin that you got in a solo wrap, and we got those a bunch in the 90s when we were kids, and I hated that shit. And now, like every time I see those, I get those for some reason. I'm like, this is damn good. But like, I love Butterfingers, and I was too dumb of a kid to realize that was just like the inside of a Butterfinger with no chocolate on it. It was the poor guy Butterfinger. So it was it was more my wheelhouse, and I was just that's where I was being really fancy. That was me flexing my rich guy muscles, eating Butterfinger.
So Robert,
I don't even know your non-chocolate one. What is it?
Yeah. It's got some crazy name. It's like something sticks. Like STIX, I think.
Oh,
but doesn't it have like a white coating on it though, right? Like
no, it's literally like it looks like from afar. It looked like a cheese log in a wrapper. Like
you're eating a
like
stale
that
cheese log.
big, but it's like it looks
salty.
like a Cheeto or something. But it was just like solidified like peanut flavored sugar or something. I have to figure this shit out now.
Oh man.
So Robert,
we're gonna find out it's like some kind of like rat poison people were putting out in their yard to like for the rats to eat. He was like, "I loved it, man. No one ever picked them up." I was like,
found it immediately. The Chico stick.
Chicken stick.
Chico stick.
Chico stick.
Oh,
I was gonna say chicken stick sounds nasty.
Those always looked like bird food to me, so I never tried them.
It's the inside of a Butterfinger.
Is that like a candy you get at like Tractor Supply Company? You know, like that company.
Like in the barrel there.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. You get your bark mulch and your chicken stick.
I've never had those. I'm looking at them right now.
I've never had that. I don't think I've ever had that chicken stick.
They do look like Cheetos.
Yeah, I just tried to share it. It looks like a really long Cheeto or something. It's the inside of a Butterfinger, but I think it like existed before the Butterfinger, and then some guy at Butterfinger ate this and was like, "Bet you if we covered this in chocolate, this shit would sell like crazy."
It was some factory worker halfway down the line. He was like, "Here, just grab these, start writing Chico stick on it."
As a kid, I could not get past the look of it, and I think I like in my head convinced myself they tasted really bad, and I ate one when I was older. It was like, this is exactly the inside of a Butterfinger. Like that's all it is.
I've avoided them my whole life.
It's like it's like somebody melted the chocolate off of a Butterfinger.
Someone else sucked the chocolate off.
Yeah,
it's just Spencer in the factory.
Yeah. They pay an old guy to suck the chocolate off of it with his gums.
That's all Chico for you.
It's like
I want to give a quick shout out to Matt Nickerson in the chat, because he goes, "Anyone remember the Dr. Pepper gum, 7-Up gum from the late 80s, early 90s?" And I do. I explicitly remember that. I remember walking. I went to my cousin's house, then walking to Fox's Pharmacy in Newton, because that was the only place I knew that had it.
Almond Joy.
Right, Rob, you getting shrapnel.
What the hate for almond joys? What the hell is this?
I got your back, dude. I love it.
Rob would eat them all for himself.
Damn right.
So
I had a great Halloween.
So Amy,
Nobody
you gave
wanted
us
them.
your number one. So Rob, what's your number one candy?
Number one, Twix. I love Twix.
Twix.
Oh, damn.
Solid choice. I always wish the trick or treat size was a lot bigger than like the one bite that they give you. You know, I always wanted why didn't they just do like a full stick? You know.
I know. That would have been better, but
yeah,
coming back for more.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Ryan, number one.
Number one stands from like age 13 to now. Haribo gummy bears, and they gotta be Haribo gummy bears. Nothing else, or Haribo. I don't know.
Haribo.
Haribo.
You weirdo.
I don't know how you say it.
Haribo.
You gotta say it like the Japanese commercial. Oh man, I'm more orange now. I can't get this lighting thing figured out in here.
Haribo though, they always had like all these crazy things like gummy worms, gummy like cherries, and like. But yeah, you're right. Like all you needed was the gummy bears, and that was it. You know.
That's half.
Yeah, I remember even as a kid, like
Bears.
I had someone gave me like you trick or treated, and I had a few different brands, and it was like certain ages, like certain things click in your head, and like I had some regular gummy bears. I was like whatever, and then I opened that gold pack, and I was just like, whoa, this is this,
Yeah, right.
and that was the new candy from then on.
Yeah.
Yep. Jeff, how about your number one?
Number one is Reese cup, but not the regular Reese cup. The Reese's pumpkin.
Really?
The ultimate candy bar.
Where do you find that? That sounds awesome.
You never
I
had
love
Reese's pumpkin?
Shapes. Yeah, you only get them in the season.
Pumpkin shape or the
Mhm.
pumpkin flavor?
The pumpkin shape. No pumpkin flavor. Get
I
that
thought that was
garbage
like
out of
a
here.
Oh.
flavor.
Oh, I was really confused.
No, it's the shape because that
Yeah.
shit's got more peanut butter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Got rid of
It's
that
like
hard edge, so it's just peanut butter and a slight layer of chocolate
Although, dude,
hanging.
that
Yeah.
classic Reese's cup in the freezer.
Oh, okay.
Everything Reese's is great. Everything.
Yeah, I
Didn't they make a candy bar too? Was it Fast Break? I used to love those.
Mhm.
Remember
Yeah,
that?
yeah, that's still around, I think. Doesn't
And
it have
really?
this thing
Reese's
in
sticks,
it? Has,
great.
like, it has like a Reese's Pieces in there.
they're like the Taco Bell of candy. They just take
Yeah.
like the same ingredients and just keep remixing it.
Yeah.
I
Garbage.
will get the Reese's pizza eventually. Like it's coming.
Yeah.
And I would eat it up like crazy.
Yeah, it's a peanut butter dough. Like,
Oreo pepperonis.
yeah.
Yeah. Spencer,
There's-
what's your
there's
number
like-
one?
There's a guy at Reese's furiously writing down notes right now watching this screen. Holy shit. probably Reese's, honestly. I was gonna say I tried to think about it the whole time, but I was like, I think it was like my 22nd birthday. One of my friends, as a joke, got me one of those 1 pound Reese's cups. And I was like, oh, I can't eat this all, dude. That's disgusting. And I got really drunk that night and then ate the whole thing while I was hammered and woke up in the morning and just puked up a bunch of chocolate and peanut
Oh my
butter.
God.
And I still love them. So I'm like,
Still.
Wow.
I
That
think it's
sounds
probably
something.
Reese's.
You can yank up a candy and
I
still
hate to be
drink
disgusting. Was like the barf just like
Yeah.
thick, creamy peanut butter?
Yeah, I'm like, I won't drink Captain Morgan anymore because of that night, but I will still eat Reese's.
Is it Reese's or Reese's? Which one?
I don't know, dude.
It depends who Spencer's talking to.
I'm from New England.
He's trying to
yeah.
make good with Jeff right now, so he's calling it Reese's. But if Jeff leaves, he'll start calling it Reese's.
Hilarious.
Nice. Johnny, what's your number one?
So my number one is Snickers, and I was really surprised. I thought like it was like a lot of people's number one, so I was expecting there to be some overlap here. But yeah, my number one Snickers. I mean, it's kind of has it all. It's got the chocolate, it's got the caramel, it's got the nougat, it's got everything.
Yeah, I like Snickers now more than I used to. When I was a kid, it was like the Milky Way to me. It just kind of went to the side. I think it was because I got those like Milky Way and Snickers a lot more than everything else. So you kind of got, kind
Yeah,
of put it in with like the last candy to eat, I guess,
I
Yeah.
hate it now though. I used to
What's
love
that?
it as a kid, like nougat. Like I used to love nougat, like Three Musketeers and stuff, and now I
Yeah.
hate it. So I don't like Snickers bars anymore.
Dude,
for
I
that
could
same reason.
freebase it. I still love that was what I was torn between was Snickers and Reese's for my number
He's
one.
so
'cause
hard.
again,
You're like,
peanuts.
Get in there!
A chunk going up in.
It's my birthday.
just some nougat on some tin foil and a straw and a lighter.
There you go.
Get hard now! Oh, that nougat!
I also like Snickers marketing campaigns. I always thought they had the best commercials out of any of the
They
candy
do.
companies.
Mhm.
Yeah. My number one is whatchamacallit. Remember that candy?
Oh, I used to love those.
Yeah.
I freaking
That's
love
a
those.
throwback.
Yeah.
And I still like once in a while, like every few months, I'm like, I got to get a whatchamacallit.
Yeah.
Last time I went out, I'm like, hey, honey, you want anything? He's like, yeah, get me a whatchamacallit. I'm like, a what? And I could not find these freaking candy bars. And he's insisting that they still sell them. And it was really hard for me to find them, but I eventually did. I think it was Honey Farms.
I'm surprised they do still sell them.
Yeah.
I had a who's on first moment like that early on when me and Beth were dating, and it was the same sort of thing. She was coming by my apartment. She's like, I'm stopping at a gas station. Do you want anything? And I was like, yes, get a drink and a whatchamacallit. And she was like, what are you talking about? I'd never had one before. I'd never heard of it. And now they're like her favorite candy bar. But yeah.
I think back in the day that the advertising campaign was basically that. Give me a whatchamacallit. What's that? A whatchamacallit.
Oh my God.
That kind of thing, But yeah, I love that candy. I love the rice in it and just everything.
The commercial, there was one with a cop where he pulls a guy over and the guy's eating one. He's like, what you eating? He's like, a whatchamacallit. And he's like, oh, you getting wise with me, guy?
We were also, they weren't really around here a lot, but we were like, me and my brothers were nuts about Abba Zabbas when we were really little kids. And I guess that's like a wicked old-timey candy that was like really big out west. But like my grandparents were from like Orange County, and they used to send them to us all the time because we were real little out there. I guess they used to give them to us, and we'd go like ape shit for them. So they just would like send boxes back like monthly when we were kids.
Those and big hunks too were big in California.
Oh my God!
That's the first time I ever had a big hunk or an Abba Zaba. Was when I was out there, and they were good.
I could pull all my teeth out eating Abba Zabbas, and they're not that good. Like it's like Depression era peanut butter.
Yeah,
that's not spooky.
No.
Yeah, Are we in the Unfollowed movie right now?
I know how to get rid of him. Flash
unfriended right
image.
I have no idea who this is.
Flash a pumpkin carver on him.
That's the best.
That is the best. So we all start ritualistically getting murdered right now.
Yeah.
And they
do me first, please. I'm so tired.
And I didn't eject them, so whoever that was, they just left. So it was a little creepy. But anyways, let's visit with the chat real quick. See what we got in here. We got Edwin, Dale Peeps.
Real quick, the big hunk. What is that? Like a chunky? Is it like a West Coast version of the chunky, or?
No, big hunk it's like, sorry Jeff, it's like nougat, but it's like it's kind of like tangy taffy, but it's heavy, thick, hard, chewy nougat. It's good.
Okay.
It rips your teeth out.
Ryan.
Was anybody else big on Sky Bars?
Sky Bars. Sky Bars.
That was a candy my grandfather showed me, and he was like, "It's pretty cool because it's like every candy bar in one." And I was like, "Yeah, you got me sold, old man." Like,
they now make exclusively Sky Bars in my hometown. Somebody from my hometown bought the rights, and they opened up a shop.
That's excellent. I still miss Wonka bars, and that's like the laziest candy ever. Excellent.
Yeah.
I still miss Wonka bars, and that's like the laziest candy ever. Ooh, Wonka bars, and that's like the laziest candy ever.
We're in like 3 layers of Inception.
it's the entity that's in the chat room with us. Oh God, we're being invaded on tonight.
That was really weird. It just played one frame of Ryan's human face and then snapped into the werewolf.
I feel like this is what a Monster Squad remake would be like.
Yeah, definitely. Fantastic.
Happy Halloween!
Now we know who it is.
Can we see it there?
What?
I don't have a costume handy. You probably find one.
Oh, spoilers, huh? I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Don't look.
Oh,
So,
All right, so yeah, before we start the next topic, let's take a look at all these crowdfunding campaigns.
You have a werewolf and a pumpkin-headed person in your chat, and you're like, "Hey, let's just talk about crowdfunding."
That pumpkin is terrifying.
That pumpkin is creepy, and the lighting.
Yeah, the lighting is what does it.
Slightly erotic, but I like it.
Yeah, baby.
That is creepy.
This reminds me of the Max Headroom piracy incident from like the 80s where somebody hijacked a TV signal and dressed as like Max Headroom.
Oh my
It's just like this all over again.
Fantastic. So Wirehead, Rob, tell us a little bit about Wirehead.
Sure, it is a slasher horror graphic novel featuring a big, giant cybernetic creature that terrorizes these unsuspecting teens in the Pocono Mountains.
Awesome.
So I just got notified that we just got a backer. So a little bit
great.
closer. We're getting there.
Awesome. Great.
Now,
Very
Rob,
excited.
let me ask you real quick about Wirehead.
Yeah, buddy.
Let's say I'm a guy with a jack-o'-lantern for a head. Would this be my kind of book?
Yo, yeah. What was that? You got a jack-o'-lantern guy in the bottom? Is that what you're talking about?
No, I said, let's say that I'm a guy that has a jack-o'-lantern for a head. Would this be my kind of book to read?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Easily.
Asking for curious parties that are in the
Okay.
chat.
Awesome.
Or
Without a doubt.
if you're Werewolf.
He's just always screaming.
All right.
Your hair is perfect.
Yeah.
I got you some beard oil, bro.
Werewolf, we might need to find Ryan Wynn because we're going to be talking about his campaign.
Can I ask a Wirehead question? I don't think this is too many spoilers. Wirehead, he's cybernetic. Does he contain any human parts?
Very slightly, like very small, but we find out how that fits
I heard it was huge.
into him
Okay.
in the story. Yeah.
Okay, all right. And I don't want spoilers. I'm just
Of course not.
thinking about the character, getting like psyched to read the book. So
Yes, yeah.
I'm a
Yeah,
fifth grader.
About Wirehead.
Yeah,
yeah, so the very, very
It shouldn't have
small-
made me laugh as much.
I know why he kills now.
They took his human parts.
Awesome. So we got Ryan back. He must have changed back from.
Whoa.
Ooh, are you all right, Ryan?
Holy shit, that's frightening.
I don't know where these came from. I don't know what's going on.
Oh my Lord.
Last thing I knew, we were talking about candy.
Oh, you poor
Was it
man.
the-
You poor
Was
man.
it what was that one we were talking about? Zigzag or whatever? Did you eat one of those?
Abba Zaba.
Zagnut?
Abba Zabba. That was it.
Zagnut.
Abba Zaba.
So Ryan, tell us a little bit about the Hammerella campaign.
All right, so Hamarella is a sort of spin-off from the Gods and Gears universe. It focuses on a brand new character named Hamarella, and she is a half witch, half godlike being. And we're going to follow the adventure of her discovering how to use her powers, because she's going to have powers similar to some of the Elementiums in Gods and Gears, which are considered demigods in our universe. And being a witch, she's also going to have these powers where she can summon things to do certain things in battle for her. And she's going to sort of have a conflict of how those powers come to play. So she's going to learn how to develop those. And then when she finally escapes this planet that she's been raised on since she was a child, she finds herself in the midst of this galactic war, and she's going to be able to put those power to use against giant mechs and all sorts of giant killer robots and battleships and everything that we're going to have going on in this galactic war.
God damn.
Awesome. Yeah, dude, all these campaigns look great. And then finally we got City of Rot. Spencer or Jeff, you guys want to talk about this one a little bit?
Yeah, it's about a half witch, half god, chick with a hammer.
Oh, you guys, the teleprompter got stuck.
Yeah, oh crap, sorry. Yeah, no, I use this one all the time now, but this little log line Jeff came up with just nails it perfectly. It's if Conan the Barbarian were one of the bikers in Dawn of the Dead. And essentially, it's our guy Heavy Hank is set up by his old motorcycle gang, the Wizards of War, and he's left to rot in jail as the zombie apocalypse hits, and decides he's going to break out and hunt down the ranking members of his gang and make them pay for screwing him over. And
those bastards.
Yeah,
you added some since we left Tucky. You added some different perks and stuff to the campaign.
some new perks, some new updated art. I'm posting some more art this week. It's just been kind of crazy with the day job, so I haven't really had much
you got
time.
a newsprint edition for $10. That's cool.
Yep. We got the newsprint edition, and all the other editions are now perfect bound, as long as we get funded. And yeah, we'll be putting up some new pages this week. Jeff is like just about to pass the halfway point on pages done, so we are cranking along. This book will get made one way or the other.
Getting close too. You got your 63% and 9 days left.
9 days left.
I think it's doable. So if anyone out there hasn't backed any of these campaigns, please consider checking them out and backing if you can. They're all, Alterna creators, and everybody's putting their heart and soul into these projects, and they all look great. So if you haven't backed them, definitely do. All right, so let's move on to our second topic, our list. And the Pumpkinhead can join us too if he wants. We're gonna do our top 3 Halloween costumes that we had when we were kids or when you're adults. Whatever one. So once again, we'll start with my wife, Amy. Amy, do you have your top 3 Halloween costumes?
Yes, but I didn't think about adult costumes because I've had some pretty good adult costumes too, like as a grown-up.
I didn't know it was this kind of show.
Yeah. Well, so for the number 3, we'll say one of my grown-up costumes was as Gracie from Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I wish I had.
Yeah. I don't have a picture like handy, but that came out really. I still have the mask, so I made like her whole headpiece and everything, and I got this like cheapo knockoff like kimono costume from like Spirit Halloween, but I spent weeks and weeks and weeks on her headpiece, and I actually ended up in the emergency room because I was using a lot of caustic chemicals in a very enclosed space, and kind of suddenly had to vomit and felt dizzy, and that part was bad, but it came out good. So
just so you guys remember the end of Big Trouble in Little China when
Gracie Law
gonna marry both Gracie Law and the Asian girl, and that headdress she had on and all that stuff. Amy actually sculpted that and then bought the kimono and everything. Looked really good.
That's
Only thing she didn't do was put in the white contact lenses for the eye.
I'm not gonna do that.
But everything else was amazing. Like, you'll have to share a picture of that.
I'll look one up now. But what was really funny is, so Keith went with me. We went to this Halloween costume party together, and I went as this big elaborate character from Big Trouble in Little China. And who did you go as, honey? Do you remember?
Yeah, I went as Rodney Dangerfield from Caddyshack.
Nice.
I found the outfit, and I was like, yeah, I gotta do it.
He could have been Kurt Russell. He could have been Logan.
Broken all night, So, Robert, what's your third best Halloween costume?
Oh boy. Well, someone who I'd always dress up as a kid was Freddy. So I always loved that character because of the fantasy element, with the slasher.
Did you had the fake gloves and everything, like the
fake gloves, the hat, the sweater. I would always, it was like a repeat, a couple of years, but I have to think.
Well, that's a good one though. That one's always like, I think I was Freddy one year too, and that was always cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good one. Pumpkinhead, do you want to join in?
With what?
What's your? I mean, you're already wearing a costume. I mean, but I don't know if you had other costumes in the past that you were your top
Jack-o'-lantern?
3 favorites.
Deeply offended.
There is no costume there, Keith. Come on.
I'm
Don't
sorry.
offend the
I
pumpkin.
came on the show because I heard you'd be very welcoming, and instead I'm being insulted. You're all wearing costumes. They're rather hard. Good job.
All right, moving on. Ryan, do you have a top 3 costume or your 3rd favorite costume ever?
Yeah, my 3rd favorite that I did was Joe Weems used to throw these Halloween parties called Halloweems, and we'd all try to get as elaborate as we could or with whatever our costume was, and it was usually based on something from that year. So this one year I was Dog the Bounty Hunter, and my wife dressed as Beth, I think was his wife's name. And she sewed these giant fake breasts for herself and had the outfit that looked just like her and the big wig. And I had the giant mullet and the jacket and like just did my whole outfit like him. And 2 things that were funny is when I went to make the jacket and I was like using a stencil to spray paint Bounty Hunter on the back, and like I ended up making it say Bounty Hounter by accident. And I was like, damn it. And then the other thing was everywhere I went that night, because it was a popular show at the time, everyone was like, dog, love your show. And I was like, I love on Halloween that if you dress up, you are the person to people. They're like, oh man, I've been watching your show. And like all night at the party, people are like, oh, I've been watching your show. I'm like, this is so funny. But yeah, that was a good one, and the wife had a good time at Beth.
If you have a picture of that, I would love to see that. You should post that up on Twitter or something.
I do have a picture of it. Yeah, I'll post a couple pics.
That'd be funny. Jeff, what's your top 3, your 3rd best costume?
3rd best was the Scream movie costume, but not because I was a Scream movie fan, but the costume was basically a black like robe. And so what we did is we went around all the houses, trick-or-treated. Then you just take the mask off, switch another mask on there, go back out, hit him again. So it was a twofer.
Oh, geez,
Very
that's
nice.
brilliant, actually. That's really brilliant. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that's awesome. That's actually really good. Spencer, do you have your 3rd favorite costume?
Spencer's sundowning again.
I'm back just in time.
Oh, nice.
My cat was going nuts in the background. Yeah, I've been sundowning.
Okay.
I'm bad, Rob.
How bad? Let me see.
I don't really have any good ones, but I have a really great story of a costume from when I want to say I was like 6. So again, we were super poor. Mom made a costume for me, and I was supposed to be, I think it was like the Indian in the cupboard. I was like nuts about that movie when it came out.
That's adorable.
But yeah, I was like crazy about Indian in the cupboard, and she made me a little Indian costume, and I was a very dainty looking little boy, I guess, because everybody thought I was Pocahontas that year. And it crushed my little boy soul, because I thought I was a badass little Indian, and then I went out and I was the most adorable little Disney princess in the world, I guess. And
that's like a slasher movie origin right there.
Yeah, mom didn't make costumes for me after that because she felt really bad. It was pretty intense.
But were you singing Colors of the Wind?
That was my 3rd best, right? And now I love that movie. No.
Yeah, it was his own fault, Jeff. He was dancing and singing the wrong song.
Yeah,
Ryan always gets me. I love you, Ryan.
How about you, Johnny? 3rd best costume.
So for the 3rd best, I guess, is probably like the worst of the list, and it's a 12-year-old me on a Saturday morning chopping up ski masks while watching X-Men the animated series, trying to recreate a Gambit costume for Halloween. And there I had my like little trench coat, and I had like this like, like this cardboard like chest plate thing, like he had like the '90s Jim Lee costume, and I tried to like paint the design on. It had a ski mask that kind of like fit like the frame of his like weird mask thing, and I just hit the streets with a stick, and I was Gambit for the night. It was the best because it was like handmade, and it was like one that I did on my own that I kind of like, and I really really loved X-Men then too in that era. But also the worst because it was just like little chubby 12-year-old me walking down the street in this poorly made Gambit costume, like trick or treating.
It was probably still better than one of those Ben Cooper ones, even though I love those things.
I was like, whoa, you watch your mouth. That's like the best part of that Haunt movie is all the Ben Cooper masks they made for it.
I love that, yeah.
Oh, man, I love Ben Cooper's stuff.
Yeah, me too. I love how like cheap it was, and and I love that he over licensed everything. Like,
oh yeah,
that was great.
And the classic, you got the characters like pretty accurate mask, but then you just got like a T-shirt with their name printed on it.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's like Iron Man.
He would get licenses that were so bizarre, like what kid wanted to walk around the streets dressed as like Gabe Cotter from like Welcome Back Cotter, or Chachi, Chachi.
Or Flipper. They had a Flipper one that also said Flipper on it. You're like,
their motto should have just been like a costume for that one kid.
Yeah, right. And the one I tweeted out the other yesterday, he did like Asteroids, the video game. Like your head was like this asteroid, like you looked like the Elephant Man or something. It was just bizarre, like the bizarrest.
That's like just so the Halloween shop has some stuff on the shelf after all the popular stuff sells out. Like, I guess I'm Asteroids this year.
Yeah,
killer.
Damn it.
Oh God! So my third favorite was Terminator. Like they had
nice.
This is I think in high school. They had like a makeup set where you could have you basically made your face like when Arnold was like had the flesh ripped off, and they had like a cybernetic eye that you would put in with all the makeup and stuff, and then the rest would you just get like a leather jacket or whatever, and then. And the light would blink and everything. It was pretty cool for young me. And then you got like a little cybernetic hand. It was like perfect. So I was like,
did it like go over your hand? Was it like a thing that went over your hand?
It was kind of like you would put it up your sleeve, and then just like it would just show up under your sleeve, and you could pull something and make the hand open and close.
Oh, okay.
It was kind of like that. It was kind of wild, and it was like that face makeup. So you would make your face look like the exoskeletons coming through your
That's cool.
The T2 hand toy where you could flip all your friends the bird.
Yeah,
Terminator hand.
Yep. It was awesome. All right, so let's move on to the second best. Amy, what was your second favorite Halloween costume?
So I did find a picture of that Gracie Law costume, and I sent it to the messenger if you wanted to share.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let me check it out.
I'll tell you my second one while you're pulling that up. My second favorite costume was Diaper Man from the Mighty Heroes.
Oh, awesome.
Do you guys remember that cartoon? Right?
Yeah, it was so good.
But this,
I
okay,
don't.
so you don't remember the Mighty Heroes? You have to look them up. Look up the Mighty Heroes.
I am right now.
It was awesome. It was I think it was Ralph Bakshi. It was like Diaper Man.
Okay. Yeah, and Diaper Man was my favorite.
Rope Man, Tornado Man.
Oh, I've seen pictures of stuff from this. I've never actually seen this.
Yeah,
it was a little recent.
I have seen this.
Be careful if you Google image search just Diaper Man, by the way.
So that's this is
I'm done with that.
I was talking about.
So this is the year I was Rodney Dangerfield and Amy was Gracie Law. But as you can see,
that's great.
You can't get in close on But the details and the headdress is awesome.
That's
So,
rad.
yeah.
Great
It's
job,
really good.
Amy.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, Keith, you too. But you know.
Mine was just easy though. She worked
respect.
on that for a while. Did you sell that, Amy? I forget.
No, I still have it. It's in great condition
Oh, okay.
in a bag, but no, I never sold it. But
She wears it randomly when you're not home.
yeah, just hanging around. My Diaper Man costume was great though because it was. Remember like Halloween parades? Did you guys have those in elementary school when you'd like dress up and walk around the block dressed up with your class?
I went to a Baptist school. That was completely not allowed.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, if you dressed up, they beat you.
Okay, yeah. So this is the late 70s. It had to be like maybe 78, 79 in Massachusetts around Halloween. So it's freezing cold out, and Diaper Man is basically a baby with a cape and a diaper and a big bottle, and that's it. So I had to wear like a leotard because it was cold out, but my only leotard was green. So I had like a green leotard on with a diaper and a cape. And like one of my sister's baby bottles, and I'm like, I'm Diaper Man. People are like, okay. So yeah, but I love that costume because I knew who I was.
The Andre skit. Don't worry, they're gonna.
I got you, little buddy. He had like that, like that Southern accent.
Do you have pictures of that?
No, I don't.
Oh man, green screen yourself out. Don't worry, they're gonna key me out. I'm just supposed to be a diaper and a cape.
I was probably like maybe 6 years old, so yeah.
All right, Robert, second best Halloween costume.
I would say Indiana Jones, but he looked more like a cowboy. Because I couldn't get an actual Indiana Jones costume, so I would just like kind of just dress as a cowboy, and I wanted to have like the scruff he had in the movie, especially I think he had it in the second one. So I would just like pencil in a little mustache as a kid, and some big like sheriff hat. Yeah. It's like I'm Indiana Jones, or like I'm clearly a cowboy.
This is me when I was a little pumpkin.
Nice. The face didn't come in yet. I could see that.
No, he's getting up from my gut to my head.
Yeah, it grows up the stock like that. Yeah.
This was last year,
his
guys.
host.
Pumpkins age fast.
This was his human host.
Your head grows up to your face. And that's what it is.
I like it.
Yeah.
And that was like your best costume?
No, this is just what we look like.
It's not a costume.
This is just him as a kid, Keith.
You gotta be sensitive about it.
In our teenage years, this is what we look like in our teenage years. We get a little lazy. Put on a hoodie. It's good to go.
Get a little sexy.
Trick or treat.
Nice. I like it.
My favorite was this one is the best. This one was last year for me.
Ooh. Wait, it went back down. Hold on.
Yeah, it goes to the hips right after high school.
Oh, I'm an Italian pumpkin.
Love it.
Hey, pumpkin, call me.
All right. So Ryan, how about you? Second best costume.
All right, second best for me. I think it was 2003 or 4, whatever. It was a year after Kill Bill came out. So same thing, going to a Joe Weems party. So I had to dress from something from that year. So the wife and I did. She was Go-Go and I was Crazy 88, and we knew other people were going to do that. So we went as a dead Crazy 88 and a dead Go-Go. So I had giant slashes where my tie had been cut off and my shirt had been cut open, and there was like the layers down to my chest, and I was sliced up and my throat was slit. And then she was Go-Go with like wood thing in her shoe, and then like the spike in her head, or whatever. However, it was that she was dead with all the blood running down. So when we got to the party, there were a couple other Go-Go's, but then they were like, "Oh, you guys won because you went the one step further and did the dead versions of the characters." So that was my second favorite.
That's awesome. That's great.
And it was fun to cut clothes up to make it, like buy new clothes and then just shred them up.
That's a great one too, because I don't think I've ever seen anyone dressed as those characters. So that's great. That's awesome. Great idea. How about you, Jeff? Second favorite?
I was gonna say Dracula because I love vampires and stuff like that, and I have vampire teeth naturally.
Yeah.
So, but then I remembered I had Zombie Ninja, and so Zombie Ninja is my number 2.
Nice.
And I was the kind of kid that I didn't like store-bought costumes, so I would always make my own.
Okay.
And I spent all month like figuring out how I'm gonna do it. And I had a wooden Japanese trading sword from the Renaissance Fair, and I had football arm guards from football practice that looked kind of like Sub-Zero's arm guards. And so I just made a whole black costume and put some stuff in my face, and I was Zombie Ninja. I don't know why I was Zombie Ninja, but I was Zombie Ninja.
That's fantastic.
Spencer's like, I know what our next comic's gonna be.
Zombie Ninja.
How about you, Spencer?
Oh man,
Second favorite.
I'm trying to think. Again, I was extremely poor.
Sad kid.
Yeah, just a bummer of a kid all around.
Number 1, poor kid.
There was a year my older brother and his buddy had me make a costume for them because I've always sort of just done stuff like that. I worked in theater in high school and stuff. It's really terrible, the costume I made for them. But no, worse.
Worse.
My brother came up with a character called Captain Fetus, who was essentially a pregnant woman, was like zapped by lightning under some crazy circumstances, and the baby inside her became hyper developed while still being underdeveloped, and was still linked to the mother, but had through its hyper developed intelligence had crawled its way out and become a superhero. So I made this giant bulbous like latex head that my brother wore, and it like changed the dimensions on him so he looked like just a giant baby. And then he had like a long umbilical cord that ran over to his buddy that was basically dressed in drag as the mother, who was the sidekick, and they were like a superhero duo. That was a really good one because it really pushed my creative limits because it was something I would never do on my own. But they were like, hey, you're really good at this. Let's really put that to the test. I wish I had pictures of it. It was ridiculous. It was like weeks of work and stuff. Big old veiny bulbous head. It looked more like sort of like a Brainiac cosplay or something, but he was all like flesh tone. It was gross. But then, of course, he was a very like playing it straight superhero. Like there was nothing funny about it other than it being a giant fetus.
Like it. How about you, Johnny? Second favorite costume?
So my second favorite was my my old school go-to, and it's already been mentioned. It's the Scream costume.
Okay.
Primarily because it was kind of like real quick and easy. And the other thing was that I also like got a lot of like mischief out of it. So like I'd wear it to school and freak people out, or like, you know, things like that. Or I wore it to the Scream 2 when that came out. And I was with like a group of people, and I was kind of like a row behind. So like I already had seen it at that point. So I'd like put the mask on and kind of like sneak up behind people during certain scenes. And like, I just had a lot of fun with it, just messing with people. So like, I think that's why it ranks solid at my number 2.
Nice. That's a great one. My number 2, I'm going to go back to Ben Cooper. When I was a kid, I had the Ben Cooper Spider-Man costume, which, you know, I'm a big Spider-Man fan, so I always liked that. But Ben Cooper, I mean, I love Ben Cooper, but they were the cheapest costumes. I mean, the garbage bag that you used to put over over yourself with the logos and stuff. I mean, it would split instantly, and then usually the rubber band on the mask would break halfway through the night. So I remember you'd have to put you have to put the mask in your trick-or-treat bag, and then when you got to the house, you had to pull it out and just hold it to your face like you're at a masquerade ball. It's so bad.
I don't know what you're looking for here, kid, but all we got is candy.
I mean, that's what I love about it, though. It was so cheap, and I just remember, I have fond memories of going to Woolsworth when I was a kid and just going through all the costumes, because they used to have them on hangers, almost like dresses or something, and you would just go through them, and it was pretty fun,
Those masks were so flimsy too. They were just cheap foil, and they would break. The masks themselves would tear.
Yeah, the best thing was the warnings on the box said flame retardant, and I'm like, what? This thing would go up in 2 seconds. You know what I mean? How is it flame retardant?
Nothing like melted plastic sticking to your body, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. And then,
I remember having the Voltron one and the He-Man one when I was really young.
Cut up your tongue too, trying to stick.
Yeah, that's right. That little rectangle.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and you have all chocolate in there from eating chocolate all night. It's so bad. But anyways, all right, let's move on to number one. So Amy, back to you. What was your number one favorite costume?
I'm sticking with Ben Cooper for my number one favorite costume.
All right.
And I believe I was 5 years old, and I was Count Chocula.
Nice.
And my little baby sister, who was 3 at the time, was Boo Berry. And I was old enough to realize how stinking cute we looked as Count Chocula and Boo Berry. So that's what and I think at that time, that's, you're 5. So you go to your Grammy and Grampy's house, maybe your auntie, and then the neighbor, and that's it. So I didn't have the whole sweaty, gross experience. I had the we're so cute experience. So I think that's my favorite costume memory is the Count Chocula Boo Berry duo.
Nice. Monster cereals. Can't go wrong with those. So I like that.
And you hope that's her answer too. If you ever hear her asked, she's not one time.
Yeah, she'll be like, I wanted to be Count Chocula, but no. That would be
it's her worst memory, and you're like, oh,
yeah.
Probably. How about you, Rob? What's your number one favorite costume?
I just shared the mask with you.
Really?
So,
okay. Oh, all right.
Yeah, so this mask is my favorite.
Oh, jeez.
Killer Cloud.
Is that Killer Cloud from outer space?
I don't think it is, actually. I think it's because it's called Giggles the Clown Deluxe Mask. I don't know if Giggles was that one of the names of the.
It's probably a knockoff.
It looks a lot like one of the Chiodo Brothers designs, yeah.
It's an unlicensed killer clown.
Okay, yeah, because I don't remember any of them being called Giggles, but the mask is called Giggles. And this was the staple mask in my family. My father bought this years ago, and he only bought one mask, and he would just terrify me to death with it.
Okay.
So now I kind of passed on the tradition. I'm older now, and now I'm using the mask now to terrify my cousins and nieces and nephews. So everyone knows Giggles in the family, and they're terrified of Giggles.
I love it's generational. That's so awesome.
It is great. I'm glad you guys can terrorize through the years.
Oh yeah. And what's great is that no one knows the identity of Giggles. So the kids just think he's this immortal thing that just shows up during family events.
They don't wonder where you are.
Geronimo history.
They don't miss Rob, I guess.
Like a circus.
They all have psychologists now.
Right? Yeah.
That crazy.
Well, they all make comics now. They all make comics.
Well, you're
Same
right. It'd be crazy to make comics, right? So that's awesome, Rob. That's great. How about you, Ryan? What number one?
Well, I want to say my number one is the idea I came up with tonight, but I'm not ready to break character for that yet. So I'm gonna say number one goes back to actually like Jeff. I didn't like to buy store bought. Like the Cooper Master, cool, but anything else like wasn't really into if I had an idea. And I wanted to be Phantom of the Opera, so I made this like cardboard kind of version of his mask out of like this like soft pliable cardboard, and I painted it, and it looked kind of crappy and stuff. But then the thing I really wanted to do was my dad had a sign shop, and he had all these like double stick foam tape, and I had this big idea. I was probably like 9 or 10 or something, and I was like, I'm gonna do all the Phantom like scarred makeup underneath, and then I'll put the double stick tape, and then I'll put the mask on, and then when I take it off, I'll have all the scarred up stuff, and it'll look really cool. And then the night came, and of course, as a kid, I didn't ever plan or practice anything. It was like, oh, I had the idea in my head, so it's going to come out great when I go to execute it all. So do all the makeup tutorial exactly like you're supposed to. Then I go to put the double stick tape on my face, and it just won't stick because it's double stick like foam tape. It's not made for sticking to human faces. You got to be something like some non-porous surface. So I was like super mad and like all upset, and our ride came to take us to the school, like a school party for my private school, and I was like, whatever, and I just stuck it on. I just stuck the mask to the makeup, and it just stuck to it like that. And I was like, fine, I guess it's just a waste. And then we're at the school party and we're doing stuff, and I got tired of wearing it, and I ripped it off in front of everyone. And then it actually looked like I had this like mangled, distorted face, and it like stuck to the mask as I pulled it off, and all the girls went screaming. Like even my teacher was like, "Oh my god!" And I was like, it was just this moment of like, yes, scared everybody by accident. So yeah, so I thought I had failed, and it turned out that it turned out so much better when I peeled it off, and it like stretched. Like and then broke with the mask and everything.
Oh, fantastic!
Awesome.
Yeah, I love it. That's great, dude. How about you, Jeff? Number one.
Number one was the year was 1994,
Okay.
and the film classic The Shadow had come out,
Oh,
and I loved it. And so my grandma every year would make me something. She was like a sewer and a knitter and stuff. So every year I always asked for a cape because I love capes. So I had her make me a black cape with the foldable collar, put on my black suit, fedora. I took my toy holsters and I pieced them together so I could have the shoulder holsters.
oh, that's great.
And I went out and nobody knew who I was. Everywhere I went, they were like, Zorro? No. Lone Ranger? No. Just give me candy.
I thought you were going to say your grandmother knit you a whole Shadow outfit. Like, oh my god.
Oh, he said knitter? Oh, okay.
It just said The Shadow across it.
That's the Ben Cooper one.
It's the low budget Ben Cooper.
Oh man, that's great. How about you, Spencer? I know you might not have one, but do you have a story?
I have a more adult one. Probably, I want to say, I think it was the Halloween after I turned 21. So probably like 9 years ago now. I was doing vocals in a like metalcore band, lots of screaming and stuff like that, breakdowns, all sorts of silly stuff. And we played a Halloween show at a local. It's a local venue that used to be really big back in the day. It was like a porn venue before that. It's called the Webster, but it's not like Webster Hall up in New York. But it's like one of the bigger venues that isn't just like an all-out arena in our area. We were playing a Halloween show there, and so we all decided to dress up, but it was like super last minute. So we all went to Savers with, I think our budget was like $30 a piece, and we found as close to like 70s outfits as we could get, like bell bottoms and like really bad suits and shit like that. I found I think our guitarist was in like a powder blue suit. I was in snakeskin pants and they weren't like real snakeskin, but they were like fake snakeskin pants. And it was a brown leather jacket that was like a good size or two too small for me. And we played the shows in like a button-up shirt that had like gold dragons all over it. It was really bad. We looked really stupid, but essentially we were like, we'll go looking like a weird porno crew from the 70s. And on the way out, the Savers we were at had dollar ski masks, so we got ski masks too, and we went up. The lineup got jumbled last minute, so nobody knew like which band was going up first and like which band was in what place. And I think we went up like third, all in ski masks, dressed like a weird porno crew. And our keyboardist had a little like broken like old like VHS camera, and he was just like waving it around when he wasn't playing. And we just played a ridiculous show, got super drunk. I had like obnoxious stage fright back then, so I used to drink like a 750 of Jack Daniels right before we'd go on stage and just get like blackout. So that was in like a blackout drunk haze, but that was probably the best one because it was coordinated with like 6 dudes all in, I guess, sort of matching in vibe, but not really matching at all in any way, shape, or form. Yeah, right. playing music to like a sold out show at the Webster, and that was like one of like 3 times that we played the main stage there. So it was like a big event. We were really drunk and we all got dressed up. And I remember like the breakdown of our last song, we all got really low and I ripped the crotch of the pants and the back of the jacket out. Because I've always been a very, very large man. So awesome. I do not own that outfit
started calling
anymore.
You Pocahontas.
Yeah, I might still own the dragon shirt somewhere. Like I'd have to dig through some stuff, but if I ever find that, I'll definitely wear that on stream. It's like metallic silver with metallic gold, like Eastern dragons all over it. And I was like, nice. You know, when you're looking for something really stupid and you find something like that, you're like, this is the one.
Definitely. How about you, Johnny? Number 1.
So before I do my number 1, I want to do an honorable mention for my worst costume, my biggest epic fail.
Okay.
And one year I was just supposed to be David Dunn from Unbreakable. So I did I got the poncho, and I wrote like the USMC, like the logo for the college in the back. But like I was trying to like go off of Alex Ross's like version of it, like his painted version, and so like his face was kind of like dark. So I don't know what compelled me, but I kind of did like blackface from here down.
Oh my god!
The hood down like a little bit, and like I'm like, cool. I look like the Alex Ross painting, and then like I executed it, and like, it didn't really go as planned. Now this was like a while back, so luckily I didn't get canceled or anything. Just like in retrospect, I was like, that's my biggest fail. There.
Johnny would have just been a half canceling anyways. Like
right.
My favorite though is that I used to work for like one of the Halloween shops, Halloween outlet actually.
Oh, okay.
And, one season like way back in the day, and
one in Worcester, right? Or the one that used to be in Worcester.
Route 9 Framingham location. It was like one of the pop-up ones, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And there was like a kind of a mid-grade leather face mask. And I kind of eyed it like my whole time I was there working at the season, and I ended up buying it. And it wasn't too expensive, but I kind of like modified it. I chopped it up. I had some really old spent like leather laces that I kind of re-sewed back up again and kind of make this like really nice form-fit leather face mask. So I had like little ensemble of that. I had my grandfather's old butcher's apron, so that kind of looked authentic in that regard, and I would just go out to parties with that one. So that's like my all-time favorite. It's my current go-to as well. It's just this Bubba Leatherface outfit.
Nice. Awesome. That's great. My number 1 is and when I was in high school, I was obsessed with Dark Man. So I drew dressed as Dark Man. So I had just got that Johnny. Trench coat. What's that?
Just like Johnny.
Yeah. I took like bed sheets and ripped up like into strips so I could like wrap it around my head, and like I had the fedora and like the the trench coat and everything. Hottest costume ever because of the sheets, wrapped around your face and just trying to see through it. But
you only
carry
did
around a
blackface
pink
on the
elephant?
top half.
Yeah, right. I didn't use blackface on the
I got the pink elephant.
Yeah, the pink elephant is so great. But yeah, that was I love that movie when it came out. So I was like, definitely had to do it. And that
Did
was
anybody
one of my
know who
favorite-
you were?
One or two
Of course,
people,
they were
but
just
everyone thought I was like,
The Invisible
the
Man?
mummy or something.
Something,
Yeah,
yeah.
the Invisible
Yeah,
Man or
that's what I was
mummy.
thinking. Invisible Man.
But yeah, that was a great costume. So that was fun. Yeah, so that was good. So we will move on to our final list for the night. This will be a fun one. We're gonna do top 3 slasher movies. They don't have to be you pick the ones that you loved, for ones that you really liked or really scared the shit out of you or really bothered you or whatever, or you just love it, so we'll start going around the room with Amy again. Amy, your number 3 slasher movie.
So I have a question. I needed an opinion from everybody. Because the one that comes to mind is You're Next. But it's not a single slasher.
That's a slasher movie.
Does it count? Okay, then
Yeah, of course it does.
That's my number 3.
Of course it
is
does.
You're Next.
It's mass killers. It's also like a sort of a home invasion, but it's a slasher home invasion.
Dark comedy
Alright.
too. It's like a mix of everything. It's a great movie.
That's Simon Barrett, right?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
That's
that movie. I should watch
that's a
that
good
again. I've
one.
only seen it once, and it was I started in the theater.
We saw it together, Keith, and I remember yelling out. Like I tend to yell out during horror movies when I see them, or I'll retch, or I'm very reactive to horror movies. And we were in the theater, and I think I took the Lord's name in vain at one of the scenes, but then it was laughing 5 minutes later, so it's okay.
That's another one like Alien, though, with a kick-ass female lead that doesn't feel forced or anything.
True.
She's very believable, and it's you're along for the entire ride, and it's brutal.
Yeah, she's great. The way
Yeah.
she ramps up throughout the movie.
It's I feel like that movie doesn't get talked about a lot either, which is really
it
weird.
doesn't, and it's fantastic.
Well,
Yeah, it's
all right.
smart and it's pretty brutal too.
It is.
Very brutal,
I just remember the with the blender, right? Wasn't there a scene where the guy
Yeah.
blended or something?
I think
There's,
that's the one that made me swear.
There's a knockoff of it that came out a couple years later. I think it's called Jackals. That was really bad, but sort of a complete ripoff of that movie.
Oh, okay.
That's what I love about the slasher genre is that as soon as you do something interesting and new,
there's a million knockoffs.
40 of you to rip you off.
Yeah.
So true.
So true. How about you, Rob? What's your third favorite slasher movie?
Third favorite slasher movie. Let's see. Oh, this is tough. It says they have to be in order, right? That's our favorite
Yeah.
ones. Damn. I would have to say definitely. Okay. Okay. So Black Christmas would definitely be one of them.
Yeah.
Billy, right?
Christmas is my number 2. So I definitely
That's your number 2.
Billy
that's my number
something.
2. What's up?
Yeah, Billy Lenz.
Yeah.
Billy Lenz.
Well, that's in the remake, I think.
Yeah.
I'm
I
John.
I didn't see the remakes.
What's up?
I didn't see the remakes. So are they even worth it?
Yeah.
I didn't even.
It's just
No,
he's a
I
creepy
haven't
Simpsons
seen-
character.
What's up?
He's just a creepy Simpsons character. He's all jaundiced
pretty
out.
I haven't seen the one they just came out with a
No,
year ago.
We did see it, didn't we? I
No,
thought we
no.
did.
Oh,
No, the
the
one with the
new
girl-
reboot.
Girls sorority.
Oh,
The new
Yeah, it was PG-13 because
Right.
the
It
last
was like-
reboot wasn't terrible. It was just why did you do this? It's almost a 1-to-1 recreation.
Was
Yeah.
it? Did you watch it? Did you see it?
Yeah, the it's 2006 or something. It's mid 2000s when they did it. I didn't see the new
No,
one.
the
though.
one that came out a year ago.
Yeah, no, I didn't see that one
because
because
Christmas Me Too.
it was
movie.
PG-13, and yeah, it was a frat house
It was like a girl power type of movie.
Yeah, like
I think I might have seen it without you, Keith. I might have just watched it. And
oh, okay. The 2006 one, if you're in the right frame of mind and watch it with a bunch of buddies, it's pretty funny. It's pretty hilarious.
Freebasing your Milky Ways.
Didn't they make him way more yellow in that too?
Yeah,
like color corrected him.
There's a part where they show him as a baby and he's like a yellow baby.
Yeah, he's like that yellow bastard in Sin City. He's like glowing.
And the part where he's making flesh cookies is pretty damn funny with the cookie cutter and stuff. Yeah. So stupid. And then like they overdo the eye stuff, which makes it hilarious. Yeah. You know, like a big moment in the original. But anyways, yeah, I agree. Black Christmas is a fantastic movie. Very underrated, I think.
Oh yeah, yeah, and a great mood too.
Oh, so great. And the way they do, the way I love that you never know, like you don't know who the hell this guy is.
No,
even
not at all.
End, like they try to make it look like it's boyfriend, and it was really good.
That was like one of the first ones to do the whole like the calls coming from inside the house too. Like,
exactly. Yes.
They basically
I remember
invented that trope.
And when the hand grabs her hair,
that scene is crazy.
Moment. Such a great movie.
I love that old tech scene, like when they're trying to figure out the phone calls and the guy's running like back and forth trying to figure out which line is ringing, and it's so tense. It's just a guy like plugging in things, and
and I'm like, what the fuck?
John Saxon, like anything John Saxon was in.
Oh yeah,
oh hell yeah, man.
You know, so that's awesome. Great pick. Ryan, what's a third favorite slasher movie of yours?
So mine are my choices are usually pretty standard on that, but one that some people give me flack for, I'll use as my number 3 because I don't really know how I rank them, but they're all up there. But I consider Predator a slasher movie, and he's one of my favorite killers. And it even has all the beats. Go ahead, Pete, or Keith.
Yeah, I was just saying, I could see why you would say it's a slasher movie. I mean, it's like, I guess you could call it more of a monster movie, but it's sort of a slasher, you know?
It's
like
a slasher movie.
He systematically destroys that whole army team, you know?
They wrote it like
it's
that.
The one, it's like all the beats, like you could switch it to a neighborhood and it'd be the same beats happening. And I was like that. He's got a mask and like comes down to Arnold being the pretty female at the end that's got to defeat the monster.
It was intentionally planned that way though. Like that's why they have the big blockbuster action movie opening scene where it's like the whole budget's in that opening, and then the rest of the movie's like a pretty slow burn, low budget indie action horror. Like
and even like the music is more like noises. It's not quite into the Carpenter realm of like synth or noises, but it still has this like quality to it that's not like a regular score to like an action movie.
It does.
I remember seeing that when I was a little kid, and the thing about it, because like you hadn't seen what the Predator looked like, you know, before the movie, and when he was in that. When he uses his camouflage and stuff, and you're just like watching it, like, what the hell is that thing? You know, like the whole time. And then when it's finally revealed, it's just such a cool creature design too, you know? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that first one is great. I agree with you. I love Predator. I think the first one's amazing.
It has like the Friday the 13th like music cueing when the Predator's around and stuff like that. Like
definitely.
It's very much I think even in interviews Shane Black has mentioned that like when he came on to punch up the script, that's very much like how he thought of it too. Like Ryan was saying, the beats very much read like that. The second one and onward kind of get way more into the sci-fi action movie territory, but the second one still kind of is like a slasher movie, but they kind of start not really caring about what they're doing and just sort of doing the throw shit at a wall and hope it sticks method.
Yeah. Pretty much.
It is pretty slashery for the first like 2/3, and then like at the end it's like, here's the spaceship, here's all this, and it like you're like, no, they wouldn't do that in the slasher movie. You wouldn't have the like That's for years later when they do the reboot and they ruin it.
Yeah, start explaining stuff at the end of the movie. Like,
But how cool was the alien skull on the ship?
That was
that blew my mind as a kid.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And that fueled like the Alien vs Predator movie rumors for like.
And then we got the movie.
15 years.
Wasn't that just like a coincidence from one of the effects guys where he was like had it on hand and was like, this would be cool. Like they didn't clear it with anybody or anything. Like
pretty much.
that dude just spawned a whole film series that never would have happened otherwise.
No money for it.
How about you, Jeff? What's your third favorite slasher movie?
Like, I'll be honest with you guys, Pumpkin's starting to freak me out.
Which one?
I think he heard my comment about Reese's Pumpkins, and he's had it out for me this whole time. He's looking at me. Oh, God. My third is Maniac Cop 2.
Part 2, huh?
I
still need to rewatch those, man.
That is specific.
It was just a movie as a kid I watched a million times, and it always scared me. Like Cordell, the bad guy in that, he had the first one he's just like a regular dude with like a scar, and the second one he's like zombified, and he doesn't really talk except for like a little whisper. It was always really freaky, and the music was scary too. And then he has this buddy who's like Charles Manson, and he's just hilarious throughout it. And he's just like this sweet serial killer. Like he's like the nicest, funniest guy.
Serial killer with a heart of gold.
He's just like, you guys should be nice to me. My buddy's coming to get me out. But then at the end too, the end always freaked me as a kid because at the very end they bury him. I don't want to spoil this 30-year-old movie for anybody, but
I'm about to
bury him. And they put his badge on the coffin, and the music's cutting in. It's all scary, like scary sounding music. And then his hand just bursts through the coffin and pulls it out. It gets me. And then at the end, the credits, they have a hip hop song, which no horror film is complete without a hip hop song about your main character.
Is it the third Maniac Cop where he comes back looking like the melted sewage Jason from Jason Takes Manhattan?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Only really the second one is any good, and it also has Bruce Campbell.
I met that guy years ago.
Bruce Campbell,
Robert Zadar.
Yeah, Robert Zadar.
Robert Zadar. Yeah,
that cherubim disease where his chin was overgrown.
Yeah, his chin was like really weird when we met him, and
he's got that fucking.
I have fun memories of meeting him because he. I guess he was like a recovering alcoholic or something, and he had me and my friend go get him a drink. So we just did it. It's Robert Zadar, like, what am I going to do? Deny this guy a drink?
Yeah, the second one has Robert Davi in it, too. It's like gigantism or something.
Yeah, it's a cherubim disease, what they call it. That looks like a cherub. Like, it just kind of puffs up.
Yeah. He's got a strong jawline.
Yeah, like even in like wasn't he in? He was in Tango and Cash too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, one of the inmates, and he didn't look like that back, like back in the day. But when I saw him, I was like a little bit surprised by his jaw and everything. It looked really weird, but he's a cool guy, a really nice guy. Spencer, are you still there?
Pumpkin got him.
Yeah, I just have a. Like a slasher movie happening outside my door. Cat running into the door.
I had to look it up. He had his diagnosis was cherubism, like cherubs.
Like Jeff was saying. It's he's always had it too. Like his chin was like that. It just like I think it like flares up or something because it would get bigger and smaller throughout time. Like you can watch movies from the like 80s he was in where it doesn't look as bad and like the director clearly shot them from like a more complimentary angle. But then there's other stuff later where it looked like he was like flaring up or something and like because I mean I got a big head, but that was like on a whole nother level.
Yeah, definitely.
And you
like
get those
it literally
little
looked like
too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Poor guy.
It's like gigantism of the jaw.
What's your third favorite slasher movie?
Dude, that's hard for me. Just to like throw out things. A recent one, I'd say probably Haunt. That was really surprising.
Just saw that 2
Haunt
weeks
was
ago.
good.
Yeah, I love the costume design and everything. I'd say Mitch the Ghost is probably the best part of it.
I love how they were more horrifying under their costume.
Yeah.
Too.
Do you still want to see my face?
Yeah,
like, that's like the best scene in the movie. Like,
yeah, big time.
And like early on, you have no clue what's going on with it. I was like, is this going to be like a cry wolf thing where it's like all like a big prank and you're going to see all your friends at the end of it? Is this some sort of supernatural thing? And without ruining it, you don't know for like the first 2/3 of the movie what the hell's going on. And it's excellent.
Yeah,
and,
that was a great surprise.
They just did it as the Joe Bob special for Halloween this Friday that just passed. So
really?
I'm pretty sure it's up on Shudder now. That and Hack-A-Lantern. Cool. But yeah, I'd say
on the Hack-A-Lantern.
For third best, I would say Haunt, just because it's a new, surprisingly good one. I was gonna jokingly say Trick or Treat with what's his face? Gene Simmons, not the new one, the really old one, where Gene Simmons is a crazy person and a slasher in it.
I remember that movie. That's great. How about you, Johnny? What do you have?
Well, I'm going to do my honorable mention first, which is Scream, and that's for the obviousness of just deconstructing the whole slasher genre and rebuilding it.
The only thing that always bothered me, I always hated how clumsy the Scream killer was in every movie, like tripping on his rope and
tripping on everything.
Right, nuts. Like I was like, how did this guy kill anybody? He's horrible.
Yeah. Well, because it's two numbnut high school teenagers, right?
It's the best in the first one, though. I just rewatched this the other day, and I had to point it out to my girlfriend. The tripping one is Lillard. There's two very distinct personalities when they're in costume in that movie, and you have to pay attention. Skeet Ulrich is a lot more calculated, and his outfit's also shorter. It looks as though he trimmed his down because he realized he would be tripping, and that's what makes, like, there's all sorts of fan theories, like which one killed which person. Like, you think it's Skeet at the beginning, or you think it's Lillard at the beginning who kills Drew Barrymore, because if you remember, I didn't remember this till I watched it the other day, he pulls back the knife to stab her on the front porch, and he hesitates for a moment, but she pulls his mask off, and the viewer doesn't see his face, she does, so he has to kill her. But it makes more sense that would be Lillard, because in the end, he's the one that doesn't have the full follow through. He's not actually nuts. He's just sort of stupid and following along with his friend. But when you pay attention to that movie, Skeet's the really calculated one. And that's sort of the scary part of it, is that he like planned everything out and he still fucks it up because he involved his stupid, shitty friend. And that's how Sydney gets away, gets the gun, and they start essentially bleeding out and shit goes to hell. Like, Skeet's the only one that isn't clumsy. After that, though, you are right. Like, every other one after that, that's like a trope of the movies, is no matter who it is, it's always some oafish idiot. And it, like, I guess it's just because it works with the series, but it's like those dudes get the shit beat out of them throughout the movie, to where the halfway point of the movie, logically, whoever's secretly the killer would be showing physical damage of like the altercations they've been in. I think it's like the third one, the guy gets like bookshelves dropped on him and shit, and gets like thrown through like a plate glass window in like a recording studio. Is that the one where it's like super self-aware and on the set of a movie?
That's a third one, I think.
Yeah, it gets like thrown off like the second or third story of like a fabricated set and lands on the ground, and I'm like, this guy would be borderline crippled at this point.
He's just like Leo Schreiber
hanging out. Yeah, he's in that one too. I think that's the one where he technically dies, though, because I think he's the second one. Okay.
So, but
Hooker in the 80s.
That series and that movie came along when we were like dry at the cinema.
Yeah, when it kind of rejuvenated everything.
Was it Kevin Williamson? Is that the guy's name who wrote him?
Yeah. So
the others get almost too self-aware. Sorry.
No worries. Yeah, that was just my honorable mention, but I mean, for obvious reason. I mean, we could spend a lot of time talking about Scream. My actual favorite number 3, I'd say, is a movie called The Tripper. I don't know if anybody's seen that out there. But
you were telling me about that one the other night.
It's directed by David Arquette.
Oh,
and,
Tom James.
What's that?
Tom Jane's in it.
Tom Jane's in it. Yeah,
My boy.
exactly.
Yep.
And it's basically a guy who dresses up like Reagan and goes and like kills a bunch of hippies at a Woodstocky type festival, and it's just awesome. And he just like goes around like murdering these like stoner hippies and like throwing out these Reaganisms, and it's just fantastic.
Awesome, love that. That's great. So I was gonna go for number 3, one of my favorite slashers. Not necessarily the greatest, but one of the ones that I loved growing up was a movie called Popcorn.
You told me about this.
Pumpkin wants to go too.
What's that?
I think Pumpkin wants to go too.
Oh, okay, yeah. We'll get him in there.
I wonder what his could be.
Yeah, I know.
It's pumpkin carving videos.
Yeah, right.
Scoop out their brains.
Basically, a slasher that was like about a cult leader who was burned to death over like this film he made, and he comes back as like as they're reviving this like cinema, like all these high school kids are reviving this cinema for like a fundraiser, and like he starts murdering everybody behind the scenes basically.
That has one of the most kick-ass posters. Like,
yeah, it does. It does. I love that movie.
The skeleton pulling the girl's face off.
Yeah, I love it. And it just Lanyard Gates is the name of the killer. It's just a great slasher movie. Really fun too. And it's got Jill Sholin from the Stepfather movie. She's great in that. And
Probably a part of the reason I'm like all weirded out by like skinless people and
yeah, it's good stuff. Check that one out. So let's go do.
Yeah, I guess that's the one reason.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
dude, that movie's
I would
gnarly.
never be creeped out by that stuff.
Jeff, if you've
right.
never seen that movie's excellent. Like, it's
What was the name of it again? I missed it.
Popcorn.
Yeah.
Popcorn.
Super,
I've never heard of it.
super weird. I think it's like 1990 or 91 or something like that, if I remember correctly.
yeah.
Awesome cover art. It's just a skeleton, but it's basically like pulling off a Cooper mask of a girl's face. And it's one of the like coolest paintings ever if you look it up on Google. The movie is all over the place, but it's like a prosthetic effects orgy throughout. Like, you would definitely enjoy it. It's like right up your alley. All the stuff we've been talking about.
I'm disturbed.
Yeah, it's a weird one. It's definitely got some like Brian Yuzna vibes to it, like Society and stuff like that.
Oh, that's perfect.
The melted.
Wasn't it Bob Clark too that directed that?
I don't remember. Like, I mean, that came out. I was a small baby. I didn't see that till I was probably like 14 or 15, and it was on like HBO or something like that randomly, and it was like a TV edit. But the cult leader guy, like that stuff like Hellraiser and stuff like that left such an impression on me. That's like part of the reason Cade is like this burnt up weirdo character, is like I was always so freaked out by these gnarly like skinless hot dog people. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
So this is the poster, and this is the killer, Lanyard Gates.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Like basically like skin grafts all over his face, and
is like a sort of like a skinless stapled up version of Cronenberg's character in Nightbreed.
This is a great poster.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I recommend this one if you guys haven't seen it. It's fun.
Nice.
It's a lot of fun.
And it's a horror movie set around a theater. Like, what's not to love?
Yeah, I was great about that. And then like they're playing like old 50s movies and all this stuff. It's just a lot of fun.
It's got
That's
some
my number
great practical effects in it too. I would not have even thought of that one though. That's great.
Yeah, right. Pumpkinhead, you wanted to get in on the action. What was your number 3?
My number 3 is one of the best slasher movies ever.
Yeah.
Home Alone. That kid takes those guys out. He just doesn't have the killer instinct just yet. That's why it's number 3.
It's just,
My second
training.
favorite. My second favorite is the Santa Claus. They kill Santa in that. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. Roof takedown. My number one favorite slasher movie of all time. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, I agree with that one.
That movie's terrifying.
Absolutely terrifying movie.
Kills all those kids. It's great.
I was gonna say a slasher movie where they're really killing kids.
Yeah, right.
And the
So then, are we gonna get a Willy Wonka versus Kevin from Home Alone someday?
Yeah, right.
Mhm.
Yeah, Willy
I was just
Wonka
talking about-
versus Home Alone.
Watch out, Alien vs. Predator.
I was just talking with my wife yesterday that they missed out on doing a Home Alone 3 during Halloween. That would have been amazing.
That would have.
Kevin McAllister on Halloween.
Yeah, that would be good. They should do that. They should figure out another reason that
Now
he
with 40-year-old.
Yeah.
They should do it now.
Was it the Red Letter? Was it the Red Letter Media guys that were trying to pitch doing a Home Alone comeback with Macaulay all grown up during Purge night, and they were like trying to pitch it to Blumhouse?
Oh, that'd be amazing.
I remember seeing
That would
something
be
about
awesome.
that a while ago, and I was like, "That's actually
That would
perfect."
rejuvenate the Purge series too.
Yeah, right. Like, just like get Macaulay for like 2 weeks and do like a private shoot, get a bunch of stunt people for him to kill. Basically, like sad, never grew up Kevin. Like, is just
It's like the
murdering
Cobra Kai
stuntman
version
for
of
90.
Home Alone.
Awesome.
Well, he
How
never
about-
went on vacation. The kid's been
It's like
uptight
the-
since he was a
yeah.
little kid. He's been left at home alone.
Left
Yeah, I know,
behind by
right?
his shitty parents. Did any of you guys read that? It was like some guy's like senior thesis in college about the Home Alone movies being the Home Alone original being the prequel to the Saw movies,
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
and how it was
Oh my
like a logical next step for him to grow up to be the Saw killer.
That's awesome.
It's
I like that.
definitely interesting if you seek that out on the internet sometime.
I do feel like Kevin probably would have gone to juvie for accidentally killing a kid with one of his traps. It's just-
Yeah, right.
Definitely. He'd be in a home for boys.
His parents, when he got home and he forgets there's like a paint bucket rigged to the front door and he kills his dad.
Yeah, like, or he sets up Buzz. He just has enough of Buzz. He just fucking murders him.
Who didn't?
So, Amy, what do you have for number 2?
Okay, so I wanted to give a plug actually to Geronimo Draws, the YouTube show. I watched the episode with Geronimo and Peter Cimetti where we talked about slashers, and I don't remember which of you brought it up, but The Burning,
Yes.
which I had never seen. So I'd never seen that before, and I actually had to go back and watch your episode of Geronimo Draws. I was like, what was that movie you talked about? And so Keith and I looked it up. We found it for free, uploaded to
free
a
on
popular.
YouTube.
Yeah,
Really?
So, yeah, to the whole movie, and the quality is actually really good.
There's
Okay.
tons of them. Like, there's so many
Yeah.
of them that people have uploaded. Like, that's the same thing with Prime. Prime can't keep up
Yeah.
with it, but a ton of the stuff on there is just uploaded illegally, and
Yeah, so
they can't
we
do
watched-
anything about it.
We watched The Burning, and I really, really liked it. Like, it's one of the few like older slasher films that I'd never seen, and it was great.
Right.
Like, it made me jump.
That's
The Cropsey
Savini.
legend.
That's the reason Savini wasn't on Friday the 13th Part 2. He saw the script of Friday, read that it was Jason, and was like, no, Jason's supposed to be dead. And he was like, I'm going to go do Cropsey. Like the
Yeah.
burning Cropsey scene, that's Tom Savini lighting his own legs on fire.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, at the beginning of the movie, it's just him setting his legs on fire and kicking his legs up and down in extreme close up. And then they had a guy do the burn gag when he runs out of the building on fire. But that's like young Fisher Stevens, young Jason Alexander, like
Yeah.
Yep.
all
Right.
sorts of people.
My favorite scene was the killer point of view scene where he stabs, I think it's Glazer, with the shears, and he carries him through the woods and stabs him. And that was like mind blowing. I love that.
This
That was good.
this is Tom Savini's book, and there's a whole section that explains how they did every single kill in the burning.
That's cool.
Oh, wow.
No way.
It's called
Nice.
Grand Illusions, and like since I got my girlfriend got it for me for my birthday this past year, back in June, and I've read it like 6 times cover to cover now. Like, it's insane. But yeah, there's a whole section on The Burning where he talks about all of that and like every gag in the movie, the end kill of Cropsy and stuff like that. The Burning is excellent though, because that's one where he was like just got off of Friday the 13th and had learned all this stuff and then was just like ready to push his limits again. Like, you weren't supposed to legally be lighting yourself on fire on set like that and not having like a safety guy on hand. But Savini basically went out and got licensed as a stuntman so that he could just do shit like that without asking people, and would just do that regularly. And they're like really in the cabin for that. Like, that could have gone wrong at any moment and just like the whole cabin would be on fire. But you could do stuff like that back then. Same thing with like Maniac when he jumps up on the hood of the car and blasts a dude with a shotgun at point blank range. And they did that with a real shotgun in a real car in downtown New York in the middle of the night.
You just imagine seeing that.
Yeah.
So
they said they fired the gun off and like 6 other guns went off within 30 seconds of it. Like, they were in like a really bad neighborhood and they went with an off-duty cop. It was an off-duty cop's shotgun, and Tom Savini jumps up on the hood, shoots a rubber doll of himself, and then tosses the gun to the cop, and the cop drives off with it. And they were done with the scene right then and there. It was like,
Wow.
That's how you did slasher movies back in the day, and that's why I think they hit a little harder. It's like the Scanners head pop. They did the same thing, shotgun from behind, pointed it up behind the back of the head, and just popped it in the head into the ceiling, and that head explodes like nobody's business.
awesome. So Robert, what's your second favorite?
So I would have to say, only because there's certain films that I know they're better films, but for some reason these movies
it's like whatever you like, you know.
I could just rewatch it, you know, even just in the background while I'm working. And Halloween 2, I love Halloween 2. I think
Over Halloween 1, huh?
Yeah, I just, you know what it is, because it's a slower movie, the first one, and the second one he's already established, you know, and he gets right into it. The killing
like right off the bat,
right off the bat,
like that, yeah.
And
the hospital, the police station. There's a lot going on in that one. Yeah,
I love that one, and then I love the face off between him and Loomis at the end, because it feels like there's a definite end there. He's dead. They make it very clear.
Don't they blow each other up?
Yeah,
they blow each other up.
I'm glad you said up at the end of that.
It's more of a romance story.
I mean, it's not Halloween. Groomed Michael Myers.
Yeah, right.
I never got to see the TV cut though of the first movie, because when they did the second one, they reshot scenes and added scenes to tie it in where Laurie is definitely the sister. So I never saw that TV cut. Did anyone else see that with the added scenes?
Probably.
I probably
maybe back then, but I wasn't paying attention. Sorry, Keith.
I would have hated it too.
I know. They added all these scenes with her young as a child visiting Michael, and it was added into the film. So you can't. It's not even on the Blu-ray releases. There's no extended cut you can get. It was just
kind of
makes.
Doesn't really make any sense, you know.
I know. But I never
like,
saw it.
That was one of the best parts of the new ones, was them redacting all that. Just being like, that was like bullshit hearsay about town. Like, people are stupid. I was like, yes, thank you. Like,
I liked it much better that he just she just happens to catch his gaze.
Yeah, that's also
creepy.
That's
also what breaks the new one too, though. Is it's like after all these years, if he broke out again, why the fuck would he go after Laurie?
Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah,
unless you're going off of they're not related, and she after the first one is the one who got away, sort of thing. And then
that, and they need to stop doing prison transfers of him on.
Oh my god, dude!
They just gotta stop.
Yeah,
they do it in the fourth one.
They have a checklist for it. They're like, all right, it's raining. All right, it's dark as hell. All right, we're severely understaffed. All right, guys, I think it's about time we transfer Michael. Let's get out of here.
What could happen?
No, but the novelization of it is really good, though. Of the
the
new movie,
the new
novelization. Of the new one, they add a lot more stuff with the doctor on how he basically he wasn't strong enough to study Michael, and that's why he broke. So basically, this doctor is like the Harley Quinn to Michael.
Yeah,
whereas
he's a
Loomis
shudder.
knew what he was. Right. And so, he was like, oh, I studied under Loomis. I understand Michael. I could handle this. And he thinks he does, but really it breaks him and it makes him nuts. So they developed that a little bit more.
He ends up being like the weak fanboy of Michael Myers and basically crippling under the pressure of the legend.
Added that would have been great.
Well, that's it feels all shoddily done in the real movie. Like he kills a guy and he's like, "Oh, that was fun." So you're like, "Oh God."
Yeah, the book it's cool how they add more stuff with that, more layers with the doctor.
Does the book explain how to just like podcast idiots were allowed to walk into the mental institution with the mask this guy wore to murder people? So it's I don't try to get nitpicky usually, but I walked out of that movie afterwards and I was like, you think about that for 2 seconds and that movie makes no fucking sense. Like, and I loved it. I still love it. Like I watched it again like a couple of weeks ago.
It's so good.
Right.
Yeah. But I do wish 2 counted in a way because I just love that film. It's so ridiculous, but it is what it is.
That one kind of they're like it happened. Like they mention stuff that happened in it, like when the kids are talking like about her being his brother and stuff.
Right,
so they acknowledge that happened, but they're like, it's bullshit. They weren't related or anything. So that's what I mean. Like if 1 and 2 did happen, then it does kind of make sense that he would go after Laurie because that cemented like, even if he is the shape, he would still sort of be determined like, wow, this is the one like shitty ant human being, like because he like people are lesser than him, they're just something for him to murder and occupy his time with, and this is the one that keeps managing to slip his grasp and get away. So like if he did get out, maybe he would hunt her down. But when you don't like understand the first viewing of the movie whether 2 actually exists in that timeline or not, the whole time you're just like, wait, why is he doing this? And then the doctor just being like, time to make them face off, like gladiatorial combat. And he's like trapping 2 bugs in a jar sort of thing. Felt really forced. And that it also was paired with that moment where they just make Michael Myers like supernatural for 10 seconds of the movie. And he straight like curb stomps a dude's head into jello. And I loved it, but I was like, oh, okay. So we're just like
watermelon.
Yeah, we're like
Resurrection though, right? Halloween.
Throwing out the whole toned down, like the Halloween series has always been about building suspense and not really like playing up the blood. And they're just like, no, we're Friday the 13th for the next 10 seconds. Like we're going to make this guy's head pudding.
Ryan, how about you? Do you have a second favorite slasher movie?
I just had to look up the title, the one that I remembered, because I didn't want to go. I don't know if it's considered a slasher movie, but there was this Australian movie. I think it's called Fortress or something like that, where these guys wear these animal masks and there's some kind of robbers and killers, and they go through and they're like, they kidnap these kids. And then it was super freaky to me as a kid, though, because they had just like rabbit masks and like a dog mask, like these animal masks. And like that was so creepy to me. And I was just trying to look it up because it just popped in my head like 2 seconds ago. Because like I was like, there's got to be something different than the standard slashers that I absolutely love.
It's a furry movie. 1985. It's called Fortress. I remember what you're talking about because I saw it when I was a really young kid. I don't remember what the fuck this movie's about, but there was like a creepy ass Santa Claus in it that scared the shit out of me.
And that's why I wanted to bring it up, just because it was like, as we're talking about horror movies, it just like popped in my head. I was like, whoa, I haven't even thought of that movie since I was probably 10 or 12, and because I think it freaked me out so much. That I just blocked it out. I've never even looked it up since then, but right now I can remember being so scared of it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's literally like Ben Cooper and Jim Henson teamed up to make the most terrifying masks you could imagine.
Wow.
Awesome.
Fortress?
I'll look that one up. I never heard of that one.
Yep, Rachel Ward, Fortress, 1985. Pretty sure this was one my dad had on like VHS, and Ryan, I don't even remember the animal masks because you said Fortress, and I was like, that fucking Santa mask.
Yeah,
it has like a real
the leader
beard.
has the Santa mask, and they like it was super scary because like I don't even remember if they ended up.
They take like a school
everyone.
bus full of children like hostage in a small town. That's like the whole
like
thing.
shotguns
so
through the kids' heads and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like,
wow.
yeah, it was.
All right,
It
I'll
was
have to
freaky.
check that one out. That one sounds kind of cool.
The masks are horrifying. It's like if there were like a legitimately menacing gang of furries, but they were run by a Santa Claus.
Okay.
It's
get behind
bonkers.
How about you, Jeff? What's your second favorite?
All these
slasher?
movies tonight.
No, right?
What just threw me because I was thinking of Christopher Lambert the whole time. I was like, I don't know.
No, not that one.
My second is Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2.
Oh, okay.
The movie's nuts.
Yeah, I like part 2.
It's
Dennis
just
Hopper.
insane. Yeah, it's just crazy. Dennis Hopper having a chainsaw fight.
Yeah, that's great
Chop
stuff.
Top. Chop Top's
Yep.
amazing. And it's
Yep.
just like, I don't know, it's total 80s. Like it's
It is.
you know,
Total 80s and total canon group too.
yeah, like
Great.
the original one is classic and it's still like the best, of course. But I just love that second one because it's just insane. It just amps everything up, and like you just feel like Van Halen must be like like putting his soul into the movie or something. It just feels like rock and roll of the 80s.
It does, yeah. No, I definitely know what you're saying. I like that one a lot too.
Bonkers cash grab from
Well, because
Canon.
it seemed like every sequel to Texas Chainsaw Massacre was just like almost like a remake of one, whereas that one ended up being different, which I really liked, So yeah, definitely, 2 is great. I enjoyed that one a lot.
Weird when you get the original director back and he's like, I don't want to make the same movie. I want to do a comedy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I love the cover. It was like the mocking the Breakfast Club cover.
And like all the
that's
sparks from the
great.
chainsaw, like it was just so cool.
Yeah. Yep. I like that one a lot. How about you, Spencer? What's your second favorite?
Oh, damn. I guess I'll go off of terrifying stuff again. Probably no one will know this one. I think it's called Curtains.
I know Curtains.
Oh,
Yeah, it had this
dolls,
weird
right?
nun mask, and it was like Rob was saying about the Giggles the clown mask earlier. My dad had a copy of this mask when we were really young, and I have not been able to find it online anywhere. It's referred to as the Hag by like fans and stuff.
Oh,
it's
God.
just this weird ass old lady mask, and it would run around in like a black, just like weird, like skin tight, like leotard jumpsuit sort of thing. And
There's a creepy doll in that movie, right?
I don't remember. I just remember the Hag mask. Like I haven't been able to get all the way through the movie because of the traumatic childhood experiences I have with this thing. I tried to look it up. I talked to my dad. My dad said he got it from a buddy who like was sort of involved in film. So like for years I was just like, does my dad have the actual mask from this movie? Because it didn't seem like something that was mass produced or anything like that. The movie didn't really seem like it was much of a hit, but my dad had like the exact mask, and my dad has like a big head like me, so he would pull it on and it was like skin tight to his face, and it would curl over his lips, and he'd put his tongue through it, and he'd pin you down on the floor when we were like 5, and he'd be like, give us a kiss. And like stick his tongue through the lips of it.
Maybe we had the same father.
Yeah, like perfectly lined up on the eyes and stuff, and he would pin us down, and I would like scream till I would pass out, and he would do this constantly, like leading up to Halloween. And then one year it just sort of like disappeared. Like I have no clue what happened to the mask. I don't know if he still has it. I don't know if he was just like, they're too old now and they won't be afraid of it anymore. But I finally I saw Curtains at like 16, and that thing is like running through a field with a scythe in its hands. And I was just like, I'm done with this movie. Like I'm having like war flashbacks right now. Being beaten to the ground by my dad, and it was just this thing called the Hag, and it was horrible.
It was on Prime recently, but I don't know if it's
I'll have
free.
to look that up because I think that's the one with the doll. But that's
There's
the
a doll
only
in the
part of it
poster,
that I
for sure.
remember, though, is the doll.
There's like a weird poster for. It's got another cool poster, but yeah. Let me try and share my screen really quick.
Yeah. Let me see. I want to see if this is the one I'm thinking
God
about.
damn, dude! It looks completely different, but I remembered it because when my dad would take it off, it would shrink back down and look like how it was supposed to, and it would look just like it did in the movie with like the weird like jowly cheeks. But on my dad's face, all those wrinkles would like stretch out and get all distorted and terrible looking, and it was.
Oh yeah. This is the movie. Yeah,
dude, it was bad.
Yeah, let me.
Oh yeah, there is a doll. The doll's on the cover.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, bring up the cover.
I just don't remember the doll at all because I don't remember getting through the movie. Yeah,
I remember that cover.
The hag
I
mask,
just remember
though,
the
man.
scene where, for some reason, the doll is like standing in the middle of a frozen lake.
It had that gross
and you're
neck
like,
drop
what the hell
down
is
too.
that doll doing there? You know, it's like one of those kind of moments.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That fucking neck piece though. My dad always wore
I
like
need to watch this
button-up flannels when we were young. It was like the 90s, and he would just like tuck the neck piece into that thing. And there's like I gotta look through like old family photos. There's gotta be pictures of him in it because it was such a common thing, dude. Like we'd be at Thanksgiving and my dad would be in the other room and he'd be like, "Oh guys, Nana's here," and we'd all come running out excited thinking our Nana was there, and it'd be fucking him in the hag mask and like me, my little brother, my big brother, all like screaming and crying and running away in terror. Like, oh my god! If I had kids of my own, I would be like, "Dad, let me get the hag."
All right. So where do we leave? So Johnny, number 2.
My number 2. I don't know if people would consider this a slasher movie, but I think it is. It's Nightmare on Elm Street Part 1.
Yeah, definitely.
The first one.
Movie.
Because I know it kind of devolves into something else, like as it goes along with like the sequels. But like the first one's like straight up like Nancy getting dragged up to the ceiling and stuff. Yeah. Oh yeah, great. Absolutely. It's just like straight up slasher material. So like that kind of holds like a solid like place in my heart for slasher movies.
And I love the first one because Freddy's like terrifying in that one. Like, not really jokey. I mean, he has a couple one-liners, but like not like how it eventually goes.
Yeah, they're well thought out at that point in time.
Yeah.
That was the thing was I can't remember what documentary it was, but someone says like Freddy was the only real slasher that came out where they were like he had a personality developed from day one. It wasn't like Jason and stuff like that where they had to build it over the Red Letter Media ones. They literally say it's like, but the 6th movie is when you're finally like, oh, Jason actually has like something to him. Like it changed from movie to movie every time. And they like from day one with Freddy, it's like, no, this is Robert Englund. We know what it's about. Different writers sort of leaned in weirder directions one way or the other, but it still always had that core there. And that was like super rare. I guess the Chucky movies kind of aped that in the long run, but
a little bit, yeah.
The original Child's Play too, sort of the same thing, was way more serious out the gate, and they sort of get more ridiculous over time.
Yeah, definitely.
And they still all have the same writer, which is insane. Like Don Mancini or whatever has written all of those movies somehow.
Maybe.
Except for that funk ass reboot they did.
Oh yeah, with Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
But Don's writing the TV series where Brad Dourif is still playing him, so
I'm looking forward to that TV series. That's going to be good.
Awesome. Well, my number 2 was Black Christmas, but we already talked about that, so we're going to move on to number 1.
You guys and your jaundice, guys.
So, Amy, what's your number 1?
My number 1 is Halloween, the classic John Carpenter.
Actually, that's my number 1 as well.
Yeah, it's one of the first ones that I remember seeing. Like, I saw it when I was way too young. And it's absolutely terrifying. And
terrifying even from, like, the pumpkin in the opening credits.
Yeah, that scared me when the pumpkin breaks. So, yeah, I was terrified from the intro. So, that's my all-time favorite. And it's just a great film.
Even though it's, like, considered a ripoff of Black Christmas, you know, or people claim that Carpenter stole from Black Christmas, but he made it like it's just so atmospheric. And Michael Myers, I love that he doesn't talk and he's just like this, like the boogeyman, basically. It's like.
Well, and I love the end scene when at the end of it, and the camera's going around showing you all the places he had been throughout the film, and it's just so creepy because he could be in your house or on your street or right outside.
Like the whole thing,
it's very effective. So that's
great. And like Rob, I like number 2, but I love the first one so much better.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, for all the it's more similar.
Number 2, the second one, so the first one, he's got a giant butcher knife, right? And he's like chasing people with this huge butcher knife. Part 2, he has a scalpel. He's got
creative.
The teeth, but it's so little. And so he's like running around with his little like, I'm going to get you. It's not as
needle,
scary.
bro. The needle scene.
The needle is good. The needle scene is good.
Robert's going to defend
the hot tub.
Yeah, the hot tub scene is good too. So it is an enjoyable movie. I do like it.
It's very different. It's very
different.
different from the first one.
Very different tone. Yeah. I didn't notice it until I watched it, a few years ago on how much it's, like a little less, the quality dips from 1 to 2 a little bit. Like when I was a kid, I thought they were seamless, like 1 and 2.
Same.
Like,
they still feel it though. In a way.
What's that?
I said this. I think that's why I like it, is because it does feel
all
seamless.
Like the same night.
You're their greatest fan, Rob.
That Hellraiser 1 and 2 feel seamless.
That
movies
is
that like connect very well.
Those are great movies.
Getting thrown off a cliff.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So Rob, what's your number 1?
My number 1 slasher movie would probably be Alien. The first Alien.
Great choice, yeah.
Yeah, I love.
Much like Predator, similar thing where it's like a creature systematically knocking on.
I mean, go ahead, Amy.
I was like, Alien is my number 1 favorite movie of all time. So if I knew that Alien was considered a slasher, I would have.
Once he said Predator,
typical girl. Am I right, guys?
Rule breaker.
Fake geek girl.
Yeah.
Right? Typical girl likes Alien. Who would have guessed it? Yeah, no, Alien kicks ass.
It's so great. And
Sigourney Weaver was like one of my first crushes as a little kid. I was just like, this is crazy.
I think the first one is the best too. Like,
it's so great. The slow pacing, and also, I love when horror is fused with sci-fi. That's my jam. That's why my honorable mention schlock is Jason X.
Oh, that movie's so bad, and I can still watch it like a billion times.
Jason X is great.
I just love when those two genres meet. I love it.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Todd Farmer, who wrote that movie. He's a friend of mine.
Hell yeah.
No way.
Oh, right on.
Oh, neat.
Didn't you
tell about Wirehead, man? Get on it, Johnny.
Right?
Yeah.
Why isn't he on? He sounds way more interesting. have him replace me.
Ryan, what's your number 1 of all time?
I'm gonna have to steal Johnny's number 2, and say that my number 1, going back to childhood, is Nightmare number 1. Nightmare on Elm Street,
Nightmare
the first
number
one.
1 scared the shit out of me. I totally agree. Like Nightmare, that would have been on my list. I think probably would have been number 4. I think just Nightmare on Elm Street's so good.
Where I like the series, and actually number 3 is my favorite. I love the Dream
Warriors.
Warriors.
I love 3.
But like the first one, I think I either told Spencer or Robert this on somebody's stream last week that but the way I saw it for the first time was I had gone to bed, and our bedrooms were down the hall from the living room, and my mom decided to watch it, and I snuck out and came down, and I watched it from the end of a dark hall, like around the couch, and scared the crap out of me. And then, of course, I couldn't sleep for days, and she was trying to figure out why, and I finally had to tell her that I watched this movie. I didn't want to admit that I had done that, because that felt like I was going to get in trouble for that too, and it was like, No,
Freddy
so
was coming after you now.
The
yeah,
freaking
like
long arms, like when he's walking in the beginning.
Come to
It's
Freddy.
so good. Yeah, it's
so creepy.
so great. It's a great movie. Jeff, how about you? Number one.
Number 1, Friday the 13th, Part 5.
Part 5, right?
Yeah, he's a weirdo.
I know everybody hates it, and I get it. It's not.
No, I
Jason.
like Part 5.
But
Is that
Part
the
5
one
is so
different?
weird and crazy,
Okay.
and it's like
Jeff
does-
loves boobs.
But like, I love how like the movie's so unapologetic, and it just treats every character like they're a cartoon. So like,
Yeah.
there's a guy in it. Is like, what's his character? He's fat and he eats candy bars.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
like, that's it. He always has chocolate around his mouth, and he gets killed
He gets
brutally in the
killed
opening.
And it will be his undoing.
And then there's like these
Then, like,
rednecks that live in the
they're so
woods.
nonchalant about it after.
Yeah.
He gets killed too. Like,
Oh, right. This is with the father.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude.
So I won't say anything more. I won't say anything more.
Jeff
Yeah.
told me about this when we were streaming earlier, and I like couldn't stop laughing because I'm like, I don't
I
think
like
I've
that
ever
one.
met anyone who genuinely likes that one. That one's like
see?
directed by a guy who did like hardcore porno before he directed Friday
Really?
the 13th. Yeah,
you know,
dude,
Yeah,
funny
I
is
love his
scene-
whole oeuvre.
the scene with the
I have another
couple.
buddy that loves that one too. That's his favorite.
The scene with the couple in the woods, like there's like famous interview from the Friday the 13th documentary where the producers were like on set like super uncomfortable because the director was just like fuck her harder and like giving all these insane directions like while they were shooting the movie, and the producers had to like pull him aside and be like, you're not shooting a porno anymore, dude, like you're making a real movie, chill. like it like 5 is like probably the most insane production stories out of all of those movies, and it's so hilarious because like it's so close to my favorite and
Yeah,
just
everything's
misses the
just, like,
mark.
it's just so weird. Like the redneck is wearing like a pilot's cap, and he's riding his dirt bike around just screaming, and his mom's chopping up tomatoes, yelling at him.
Oh my
I like
god.
6 a lot too. I think 6 could be my
6 is the
favorite.
best.
Yeah, 6 is great.
Yeah, 6 is my number one.
Yeah, 6 is awesome. So Spencer, what's your number one?
That's my number one is 6.
Oh, is it? No,
Yeah,
nice.
like without a doubt. It's just
so good.
like he's the EC Comics monster in that one.
Yeah, it's great.
It's got that like comic book feel all around from the get-go. Tom goes above and beyond with really driving that up because he was a huge fan of the Universal movie monsters. The director, he's like, going right out the gate with a sort of like gothic feel all around. His
It's
wife
so
and that
fun,
dude
too.
from Ghost have that awesome scene at the beginning right after he's resurrected, whereas
Yeah.
Tom's wife almost got killed in real life because the spear smashed the glass and like changed direction and almost actually impaled her. He
And I
fucking
love the James Bond scene.
yep impales the
Oh,
dude
yeah,
from Ghost and whips him into the air like a rag doll. He just throws
So
him like
good.
20 feet into the air over his shoulder right at the beginning, and you're like, oh yeah, this is a new Jason back from the dead. And like I was watching the documentary early today, I told Jeff and Tom McLaughlin, and that is basically like yeah, we did that EC Comics thing, like he gets zapped with lightning, and we were like, he wouldn't be the same Jason anymore. He's like turbocharged from this lightning. He's larger than life now, and that's why they did that kill like that, just tossing the guy in the air immediately like a rag
Yeah, I
doll.
love
Like
that.
this isn't just like hitting kids with a machete anymore. It's going to be way more brutal. And then you got the triple decapitation with the paintball people and stuff like that. Like it's
Yeah.
a
Tommy
whole
Jarvis is great in that too.
And it's
Dude.
funny too. Like the kids in the cabin, they're like, "What were you gonna
Yeah.
be when you grew up?"
yeah.
Yeah,
The
great.
teenagers feel like real teenagers. It's the only Friday the 13th with actual kids in the camp at that point in time. Like it's got so many awesome little references throughout it. Some really on the nose ones like Carpenter County and shit like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Sheriff Garris. It's got some of the best kills in the series, like Sheriff Garris getting folded like a lawn chair.
Yeah.
The
No
awesome
wolves.
head crack.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, that's my favorite. It's got the awesome final scene and the whole feeling of like that's the first time they established like real like rules or anything for it. and like it's almost the backbone of what slasher movies are nowadays. Like all those tropes you think of in slasher movies are very much like, I feel like, ripped from part 6 of Friday the 13th specifically, where it was like you came up with sort of like a lineage and almost like a ghost story for your slasher and some way to undo that thing, and after that everything sort of had a supernatural angle to it. And I think that was sort of maybe not directly aped from Nightmare on Elm Street as well, but like that gumbo of everybody trying to one up each other, not necessarily directly bouncing ideas off each other, but constantly trying to step up their game from installment to installment. Like a new Nightmare would come out and the Friday the 13th guys would see it, be like, oh shit, we got to make the next one even gorier. And like, that's why I joked with Rob with Wirehead. I was like, man, like I'm starting to work on my slasher story, and it's going to be a long road for me, but just like I'm going to get to read Wirehead, and it's just going to make me want to step my game up even more. I'm excited for that.
Awesome.
Can't wait.
Johnny, number 1.
Well, I'll just say my favorite Nightmare, my favorite Friday the 13th is actually 7 with the telekinesis.
Carrie.
Only because it was the closest thing to X-Men in like a movie.
Yeah, you're right.
Right.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that one's good.
But my number 1 is 2 movies. One's a remake of the original. So it's Texas Chainsaw number 76 and 2003. So I love them both equally. They're very different, even though they're the same movie. But I kind of like them equal. I love the original being very gritty and like of its time and its era.
Yeah.
And it feels like it could have really happened. And, it's kind of pulled from some true events here and there, which was nice. And I love the character of Leatherface in general. He's just like this unstoppable, like human guy that like just comes out of nowhere and is completely savage and brutal. And I liked in the remake when they made him a little bit more calculated, and he was just actually like a butcher. And like he gets one of the kids and he chops the leg, and what's he do? But he puts him on a meat hook and he packs the wound, the stump leg with salt and wraps it with like butchers like stuff. I just thought that was cool. You know what I mean? And because he's a cannibal too, right? So he's preserving the meat. Like I just thought like all that part was like just awesome. So like the grittiness of it and just the horror of it, and come for John Larroquette's narration, stay for the bloody horror.
Yeah, it's great stuff. Awesome. And my number 1 was Halloween, which we already mentioned. So we already talked about that. So, all right. So we've been going for a while. So I'm going to start wrapping this show up. We've been going for 2.5 hours, if you can believe that. So before we go, though, I want to share the campaigns one last time. We got Wirehead. Let's see if we picked up any more backers since we started here.
I'm very excited for the T-shirt.
Oh, the T-shirt.
I want that T-shirt.
Oh, thank you, Amy.
Yep.
Yeah, you're at 47% now.
Oh, so close. My God.
You're getting there, man. Getting there. You're whittling it away. I mean, I get it. I these things are mind numbing. So I know you're gonna keep grinding. Are you able to extend it to past the 30 days if you need to?
I have no. How do you even do that?
Yeah, you go to the section where you set the date the first time, and you just changed the 30 to 60. So you should be able to extend it if you didn't do 60 days right out of the gate, which I don't think you did. I remember you launching on the 13th.
Yeah, I did the 30 days. Yeah.
So yeah, just like when they say the best thing to do is to literally get down to like your last couple of hours and then extend it like as close to the end as you can. You don't want to cut it too close, because if you don't extend it in time, it just closes out. But
gotcha.
If you extend it like within an hour or so of it shutting down, you get the next 30 days, and it sort of gives you a chance at like hopping back on trending again, sort of like you're a new project all over again.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, we got like another little boost when we did that. I think there was like 3 hours left on it when I like extended it to to 60 days, and then like we got a couple new backers within a couple of hours of doing that. So it's just sort of this weird gaming the algorithm type of stuff that all these different dudes have told me about. Yeah, tons of just weird tricks and shit.
Hamarella. Let's see if we picked up any more backers since we started here.
2.
Yeah, a little bit, Ryan.
Oh, you're
over 8, which is awesome. 66%.
I'll be sure to tell Ryan.
Be grinding this week. Let's check out City of Rot. Let's see if we picked up any backers during the show.
As I knock my headphones off.
No, it hasn't changed.
Everybody
out there who hasn't, checked out these campaigns, all 3 of these need to be funded. I mean, they're all great projects, all great stories, all great artwork. So if you watching this, this week or whatever, please consider backing these. Perfect Halloween projects as well. So getting in the spirit of Halloween. So. All right, guys. Well, everybody, thanks for joining us for this Halloween show. We had a lot of fun. Johnny and me will be back on Wednesday. We have a guest coming on the show, Julius Freeman, who has an Indiegogo, like a martial arts comic. Looks pretty cool. He'll be our guest on Wednesday.
Oh, yeah, that does look good. I'm trying to remember the name of it.
Yeah, I showed you some of it, right?
You showed me, yeah.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. So, everybody, Rob, Jeff, Spencer, Ryan, Amy, thanks for joining us tonight.
Where's Samedi?
Yeah, where's Samedi and Pumpkinhead? Pumpkinhead Samedi.
Where's Samedi? I'd like to meet your tailor.
We can't call him Pumpkinhead. It's legally trademarked.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
Pumpkin boy.
Yeah, right. All right, guys. Well, thanks a lot.
Bye for now.
Good night, everybody.
Take it easy.